The numbers have been run. The data is out. This is a confirmation to your order. The Bandits have 60 minutes to straighten things out and get back on the winning track. Folks, the prompts have not changed. Win, and they host a playoff game next Saturday night. Roll them out for a new game. Tonight, from the First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo, the Bandits close out the regular season against the Knighthawks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bandits Lacrosse. This is John Gertler, and we are on the pregame show. Bandits are mired in a 7-game slide despite the merits of play a week ago Saturday night in Rochester in their lowest offensive output in team history. The slip has turned a major situation in the lacrosse world in trying to figure things out. This is a major fault. It is not just a shakeup, it is a fault in the lax world. Everybody is running the numbers and trying to figure things out and what they can do to try to pinpoint the problems that the Bandits are having. The talent is there, the spirit is there. it's this situation where they just got to relax a little bit and try to put a full 60 minutes of play together and try to figure this out to end out the regular season on a winning note and on a 500 level going into the playoffs next week. Joining me in the broadcast booth and filling in for my partner Randy Mearns is WGR's Dave Buchanan. Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot right at the moment. A 7-game slide. Where do you begin and how do you decipher what's going on the turf?
Well, it's kind of been the same story for the last month or so, John. You know, win a game and host a playoff game, and it's just not been happening. Going back to the road game in Minnesota that they lost, just can't seem to get the balls to drop. It's a little bit of everything. The offense has had their struggles, but just the bounces aren't going their way. The balls aren't dropping where they need to be, and just some of the things that were working out in the first half of the year aren't working out right now. Let's begin the evaluation during our pregame show on this 7-game slide with respect to the coaching staff. What do you think that's going through head coach Troy Cordingley? You were at the morning shoot-around this morning. You heard some of the pregame talk from the coach and the rundown. You can kind of decipher his demeanor. He's certainly frustrated, very soft-spoken, and he's approaching this with complete tenterhooks on his behalf. Yeah, it's pretty impressive the way Troy Cordingley's been able to keep it together. There's last season with Darius Kilgore, there was some losses, and he'd just be spitting nails at us in the post-game press conference. And I don't know if Troy blows off all his steam before he talks to the media or not, but it's just the same level of emotion from Troy, at least when he talks to us in the media. He doesn't scream, he doesn't get upset, he isn't real ticked off, for lack of a better term, and he's been doing what he can to try and keep his team focused. And some of that focus was starting to slide for a few games where they were taking some dumb penalties. That started to turn around a little bit last weekend, especially in Rochester last Saturday, but they just gotta get something going tonight, and it's all on the offense. The back half has been great. Anthony Cosman was a rock. The defense has been pretty good throughout the season, but just something needs to happen on offense tonight. From the other side of the coaching staff, offense, Dan Teet, who is the head coach the coach of the offensive side of the fence. What do you think that he is trying to decipher right at the moment with what he has on the left side and the right side? Yeah, a lot of it's getting back to fundamentals. Troy Cordingley told us that this morning after the shoot-around, that they're just, he and Teeter were both working hard with the offense during the shoot-around this morning. They're trying some new things, but also just getting back to basics, getting the rotation going, and getting that left side firing all cylinders, because that's been the at least from what Troy Cordingley tells us, that's been the biggest weak spot. You got Ressateras, who's playing great this season. You got Stainhouse, who's solid up the middle, but that left side, just they can't get anything going, whether it's Sean Williams or even Ryan Benesh or John Tavares or Aaron Wilson or Jamie Rooney. Whoever's been there on that left side just has been struggling this season, or at least during this losing streak. Last game of the regular season tonight here in Buffalo. It is Fan Appreciation Night as they set the stage for the playoffs. They're going against the Rochester Knighthawks, a team that's won 4 straight. They are the defending NLL champions. They have home field advantage in the Eastern Division. What a great way to end the regular season, Dave, against a team that they can work off of. And they are so disciplined on defense. This is a good thing for the Bandits to try to break through and figure out this defense who, if they're looking forward in the situation that they will see in mid-May. Yeah, I mean, this is a good barometer to see how they're going to fare in the playoffs. I mean, this is the team that they played them tough last week at Rochester, but Matt Vince was just solid, making a ton of saves last week. The Bandits outshot them, which is something they haven't done a whole lot of this year versus their opponents, but Matt Vince was up to the task last week. So if you want to get a struggling offense turned around, you might as well do it against one of the best goaltenders in the NLL and Matt Vince. And of course, it's also a good test for the defense because some of the best scorers in this league are on this team. Guys like Cody Jamieson and Paulus and Dan Dawson, of course. Just if you want to make sure you're playoff ready, this is a team to do it against. Back to the players for the Bandits. David, how do you decipher their demeanor right at the moment? The guys are pretty loose. I mean, everybody was, having a good time this morning during the shootout. I mean, they were down to business, but they were also, you didn't see a team that was nervous. You didn't see a team that was, kind of worried about how they were going to do. They're just ready to go out there tonight and get back to work and try and end the season on a high note. It's been a crazy stretch of the second half of the season. Lots of road games. They're happy to be back here at the First Niagara Center, and they're just looking to impress what should be a close-to-capacity crowd here tonight at the First Niagara Center. Expecting over 19,000 tonight here at the First Niagara Center with the end of the regular season campaign. The Bandits looking to snap a 7-game slide. It's pretty simple. All they need to do is win tonight, and they are hosting a playoff game a week from tonight against the Toronto Rock, who are in action this evening in St. Paul, Minnesota, the Xcel Energy Center against the Swarm, who
who unfortunately will not be moving on into the postseason. How does it sound from the standings coming into this evening's game? Rochester Knighthawks, 13 wins, 4 losses, number 1 in the East, and they have the home field advantage throughout. Toronto at 8-9, Buffalo 8-9, Philadelphia 6-11. They are in action tonight hosting Colorado, and Minnesota again hosting Toronto at 4-13. For the West, the Edmonton Rush finished for the regular season last night, a big victory over Vancouver. They are now 16-2 on the year and done and in waiting. Calgary in action tonight, 11-6. Colorado 7-10, and Vancouver, who finishes out the season at home tonight at 4-13, and they will be hosting Calgary. So that's the way it looks in the National Lacrosse League going into the final week of the regular season of competition for the 2014 season. The 2014 NLL playoffs will start a week from tonight. Will it be in Buffalo or will it be in Toronto? We'll have that news for you beginning at probably about 9:48 later on this evening. If you're driving down to Buffalo, take your time. A pregame show will take you right up to game time. We'll have all the play-by-play coverage for you right here on the radio and the Lacrosse Network picking us up as well. John Gertler, Dave Buchanan with you, and looking down on the field right at the moment, David, the Bandits to our broadcast left in their home white jerseys, and for our broadcast right, the Rochester Knighthawks in their teal uniforms from top to bottom. Talent throughout for the Buffalo Bandits we had talked about, and that seems to be the talk during the week in the lax world with respect to the left side. And we're speaking about John Tavares and Sean Williams. And how does a guy like Mitch Jones fill into the sequence here?
Well, in his first 2 games as the Bandit, he was playing with the offense and, scored a couple of goals. But last week he was coming out the back door. Had a pretty solid game, 10 loose balls against Rochester. I think tonight you'll see him again coming out of the back door because Joel Matthews is back in the lineup tonight. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Dane Smith come out of the front door a little bit as well. He's, that's what he did last year. This year he's been more of a transitional player, but maybe look for Dane to also come out the front door a little bit, play a little more offense tonight. Plus, with both Aaron Wilson and Jamie Rooney scratched too, you might see Chad Culp also get mixed into the offense as well.
We have the official paper for tonight on the scratches. Dave, why don't you go through for the listeners?
Well, it was a little bit different than how Troy Cornley painted it this morning, as once again the Bandits playing shuffling with the players, putting this guy on this list and this guy on that list. So the latest that we were just handed is Aaron Wilson's been moved to the IR. I don't know if that's level 1 where he can only miss a week or level 2 where he'll be out 3 to 7 weeks, probably just level 1. He's officially on the IR. That means they've activated Jamie Rooney off the PUP list, but he's going to be a scratch tonight. And so is Andrew Watt, who was suspended last week. He's back on the active roster, but it looks like he's a scratch tonight. So that means we thought Kevin Brownell was going to be a scratch, but looking at our roster we were handed, he is going to be in the lineup tonight. Mitch Jones will make his Bandit Land debut, and so will Joel Matthews. For
the Rochester Knighthawks, what do we have?
Once again, it'll be Joel McCready and Mac Allen. They'll be the scratches tonight for Rochester. So it looks like one of the guys, totally lost my train of thought, but a couple of the guys back in the lineup, including Stephen Keogh, who was a scratch recently for Rochester. He's back into the Rochester lineup tonight. Also, I forgot one other Bandit. No, Billy D. Smith is still on IR, but all reports indicate he'll be back for the playoff game next Saturday.
For the Buffalo Bandits, starting between the pipes, Anthony Cosmo coming into this evening's game with a .802 save percentage. Ditto for Matt Vince. Dave, 2 of the top goaltenders in the National Lacrosse League performing tonight end-to-end, and I'm sure we will see some spectacular play between these 2 savvy veterans.
Yeah, the leading goaltenders in saves in the NLL over the last 2 seasons. Last year, Matt Vince set the record, and already this year, Anthony Cosmo's broken his record for most saves in one NLL season. 2 of the best in the business. 2 physically very different goaltenders we were noticing during the shoot-around earlier. Cosmo's tall and wiry, 6'2". Vince a little bit shorter, but he is built. He's got guns on this guy. He's got arms. And he fills that net quite well. Does Matt Vince, and great hand-eye coordination. Just watching him, one of his pregame rituals is to take 3 lacrosse balls and juggle him, and not just juggle him, but over the back and under his leg and stuff. He's a very coordinated goaltender, which makes him so good. Great concentration for Matt Vince, and ditto for Anthony Cosmo. It's going to be a great night, folks, here in Buffalo with the Buffalo Bandits and Rochester Knighthawks. Up next is Coach's Corner with head coach Troy Cordingley. This is Bandits Lacrosse. Was I on the air for any of that? I didn't. I could barely hear myself. Check, check, check.
Well, you're going to see effort, I know that. That's been trying to create space, and that's taken away from his point production. So, he's a guy that, is one of the guys that's been taking the fault, but it's us as a unit, and it's also, the defensive transition when we're coming up and we're not making those smart shots or rushing passes and things like that. So, it comes down to being smart lacrosse players tonight, and, we're in our own rink, and this is where we play well.
About transition, Dane Smith, Mark Stainhouse, two players who we've put to the front door, to the back door. Would you be open to the effect of having Dane Smith playing more forward?
Yeah, well, that's part of his strength is his speed and coming out of our end, and when we, how many times we have 3-on-1s and 2-on-1s and even a 1-on-1 with him, so that, it's an easier opportunity for him transition-wise, playing offense in that situation because of his speed and athleticism. But yes, he's been told to take some regular shifts offensively, and, likewise with Mitch Jones on the left side, Chad Culp. These are guys that can play both ends and can play it well. So, we need contributions from everybody.
About Dane, where do you think he's the most effective?
I think he's the most effective coming out of our end. He's got unreal athleticism where he can hone in on a defender or an offensive guy and just use his speed and his skill to create a transition or a turnover. And, there's been games where he's been flawless and done a great job for us. So, offensively, he has a scoring touch. If we can create ways as an offensive unit to utilize that, then he'll be successful.
Ball movement, very good last week in Rochester, similar to, I'm sure, what you'd like to do this week, but more importantly, it's getting that close shot. What will you do in order to enhance that and create time and space for your snipers to get closer to a guy like Vince?
Well, we worked on it a lot in practice on Tuesday, and where we are, have a couple set set plays or things the way to start off and sealing and things like that. I thought we had a lot of quality shots in Rochester where we didn't shoot very well, and we need to continue doing that, but we need guys working on the inside out. They've got a tight defense. It doesn't get spread well, so the only way that we can create some space is the inside out picks, so that we can get over top or underneath and then create opportunities that way.
It seemed like it would be a project tonight, particularly with the way Rochester plays defense, for you to keep working on this situation, particularly down low in the offensive zone. What is it about Rochester that shuts offenses down?
Well, I mean, you start with their goaltender, right? And their goaltender, I think has been the most valuable goalie the last 2-3 years. So he makes big saves. He's a real good goalie. Defensively, they don't get spread, so when you're shooting, you're always going to be contested. And when you play Rochester, you're earning your goals. So again. Do I think that we can put 10 on them? Yes, I believe we can. We need to, but we need to shoot with, shoot to score.
So much focus in the last 3 games have been put on the Bandits in order to gain the home playoff position. What can you share with the listeners tonight when you go to the room for the final time to talk to the team, to give them a kind of a movement, but yet to relax, to say, let's just get this done in 60 minutes? Yeah,
this has been an ongoing thing for this month. Since the game in Edmonton we lost, we needed that one to get home floor. First half of the year where everything was going our way, bounces and everything, and we were working real hard and we had a swagger, and then we've hit a bump in the road, and it's just been a snowball effect. But the biggest thing is the belief in the 27 guys in the room, coaching staff, everybody. We have to continue to believe in what we've got and what we're doing, and bounces will go our way.
If anything, tonight, with expected full house, the sixth man, the fan of the Bandits, full house tonight, the sound, I'm sure, will be deafening from the bench. It's got to add a little bit more of an extra push.
It has to, yep. Best in the league, and they are very loud, and we love playing here. But, however, if you're not motivated to play, without the fans, then, you're not in it to win it.
You would probably expect this place just to be rocking this evening with respect to the fans and what they're going to be able to bring to the floor vocally.
I hope so, because it gives us energy, gives our team energy. It's a 6 man on the floor for us, and it helps us a lot.
Coach, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Head coach Troy Cordingley tonight here at the pregame show. John Gertler, Dave Buchanan with you. Dave, Troy is so calm. I don't know how he does it right at the moment. He was pacing in order to get this pregame segment done. He was very relaxed, very thoughtful with respect to the breakdown and some of my questions, but more importantly, you could probably tell I was trying to play off him a little bit at the end there about the fans and how important the role they will play tonight for this team.
Yeah, well, he's no stranger to the fans here at the First Niagara Center, going way back to the beginning of this franchise in '92 and '93 when he played for those great Bandit teams that won those championships in the first 2 seasons. So he remembers the Aud and what that sounded like, and he knows from both his playing and his coaching career what this building can sound like when the fans are on your side. So I'm sure he's looking forward and hoping that 6th-man boost will get this team off the schneid. I'm sure him more than anybody is really disliking this losing streak. The guy he replaced had a 6-game losing streak last year, and he didn't want to come in and repeat that, let alone break that streak. So he would love to end the season on a winning note.
It is Fan Appreciation Night tonight here in Buffalo at the First Niagara Center, the last game of the regular season campaign for the Buffalo Bandits. The fans have just been terrific all season long, and the Bandits are going to have them actively involved this evening with several types of activities that are happening in and out and throughout the game, which includes a jersey off my back, which some of the season ticket holders will be selected while the game is going on to receive an official Bandits jersey. Also at halftime, the very popular parachute drop, which will have goodies in the parachute there that the fans can take to the concourse at the concession stands. And receiving 60% of the vote, Matt Wizakowski, I think I have his name correctly pronounced, will receive the Fan of the Year and a ceremonial presentation of a jersey and out on the field. And congratulations to Matt, the 2014 Buffalo Bandits Fan of the Year. Up next is the Under Armour player profile. It is Mitch Jones. This is Bandits Lacrosse. I don't understand it. University, where he is on a hockey scholarship. He's A-OK to play pro lacrosse, and happy to be here, a part of the Buffalo Bandits. Mitch, what do you think so far?
It's been fun. It's been a learning process. Obviously, we're on a bit of a skid, but we're looking to change that tonight. And it's always fun. The Buffalo Bandits are a great group of guys, a good organization. They've treated me well.
What do you think from your practicing to the in-game situation and getting a mesh from the inside the room to the floor?
It's been good. I got the chance to go out and practice, and the coaches they set a pretty clear game plan out for us, and the guys have been really good. I've been gaining some chemistry with the guys out the front door and the back door, and I'm just looking to turn it into some wins now going into the playoff stretch. Your
impressions playing with John Tavares and Sean Williams, two of the greatest players of the game. How do you consume that as a young rookie and knowing that you're on the actual playing surface with these two great players?
It's hard not to go and listen to everything they say and just kind of be a sponge, learn everything that they're doing and how they prepare, how they think during the game, how they treat the every situation. It's been a treat for me, and obviously kind of like a dream come true. Grow up watching these guys, hearing about these guys, and watching all the things that they've accomplished. And I'm happy to be alongside now with them on the same team.
Paper or plastic? And in similar concept, hockey or lacrosse? What do you like?
That's a tough question. It's not the first time I've been asked it, but right now I like lacrosse a lot more. I'm playing, I'm on the field, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Give the listeners an idea of your type of schedule that you've had this year, playing for Northern Michigan University in hockey on a level that's certainly close into the area of making a decision professionally, but then you get a chance to play professional lacrosse.
For sure. I mean, I'll take it one step back. I played the summer season all the way till whenever the Mann Cup was, September 7th, around there I think it ended. I was actually late for school. Then hockey season starts in October. Did that without a break, and then as soon as my hockey season ended here, which was, don't know the date off by hand, but March or April, I'm right in with the Bandits. And I mean, I love it. I love competing. I love playing sports, so it's what I want to do, and that's why I'm here.
Your first game in Minnesota, you drove from school to St. Paul in order to meet the team. Give the listeners an idea of what went through your mind in preparing for the effect of saying, I'm making a transition from hockey, now I'm going to lacrosse.
It was fun. I mean, I obviously had time to get some practices in and had a couple trips out to Buffalo before that to kind of get my feet underneath me. But first one's always exciting, especially with a new team and a new environment and that kind of thing. My first game last year was actually in Minnesota too, so that kind of brought some familiar feelings back and made it a little bit easier. Along with the guys. The guys were awesome to me, treated me well. It was really easy to find some chemistry and go in there and play my first game.
What were your thoughts over the summertime, well, actually during October at the NLL draft that you were traded? What were your thoughts at that particular time?
I was excited. I mean, you hear around the league, Buffalo's a place you want to be. I mean, there's 9 teams, they're all good places, but Buffalo, I mean, the fans here are outstanding. The organization is awesome. You come, how can I not get excited looking at the offensive roster with guys like John Tavares, Ryan Benesh, Sean Williams on the left side with me. Yeah, I was very excited.
For the listeners, give us an idea of what kind of player you are and what do you bring to the floor for the Bandits?
I think I'm a very versatile player. I mean, I played my first 2 games out the O door, chipped in a goal or 2, and then my last game I played out the D door. I'm going to try and kind of push the pace and run some transition. Just working on everything, from loose balls to hopefully scoring the odd goal or 2. Kind of versatile, I'd say, describes my game.
Coming into an odd situation with the team on a 7-game losing streak, you're kind of looking from the inside out, but not a part of this from the start process of the 2014 regular season campaign. Share with the listeners your thoughts from inside the room, how you think this team is handling the situation, the adversity of this 7-game slump.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a different situation for me. I mean, I've been on a 3-game losing streak myself. It feels like I've been here for all 7. Not because it's a bad feeling in the room, but because the guys are together. The guys we're working through it together, and I feel like I've been a part of it, and I want to be a part of the solution. Guys are positive though. I mean, we got we had a game here tonight. It's a big one. We're hoping our fans deserve a home playoff game, so we're hoping to get that for them, and then we're going to go from there. I think one is all it's going to take, and we'll be able to ride from there.
Away from the game, what do you do? What are you studying? And share with the fans your type of personality.
I'm going to school at Northern Michigan University. I'm studying economics and finance. Other than that, I mean, I love sports. That's why I'm playing all year round. I love hockey. I love lacrosse. In the summers, I like to relax, and I like the sunshine. Obviously, I'm a West Coast kid, so I like British Columbia. Best place in the world, in my opinion. And that's about it.
From the moment you're leaving the dressing room tonight in order to face the Knighthawks for the last game of the regular season, certainly there will be a message from the coach, but the tenor of the team, do you feel that they're relaxed? Do you feel that you've got this under control, and it's very simply put, just some sort of combination to put this losing streak behind you and to focus in for next week? There's got to be a combination. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, there's not going to be any secret fix. We've been last couple games since I've been here, we've been really concentrating on the little things. Put your best effort out. Loose balls, everything like that. And I think we've done a better job of that every game. So we're growing on that. We thought we had a good defensive performance in Rochester last weekend, and we're going to grow on that. And I think they're going to draw it for us. Your
expectations of tonight's crowd, this being Fan Appreciation Night, an expected sellout. 19,000, I believe, will be the attendance. It's got to be pretty exciting for you as a rookie to see this type of response that Buffalo gives this team.
Very cool, yeah. I mean, myself as a rookie, and there's other guys around the room who haven't had it before, and then you look at the guys who have had it before, and they're talking about it. They're all excited. It's 19,000. It's my first home game, so it's going to be something special, and like I said before, these fans deserve another home game, so we're gonna do everything we can out there to make it happen.
Mitch Jones, great thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
The youngster Mitch Jones joining us at the pregame show tonight here from the First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo. John Gertler, Dave Buchanan with you this evening, setting the stage for tonight's game with the Bandits and Knighthawks. The last game of the regular season campaign for the Bandits and Knighthawks. And Dave Buchanan, great way for the Bandits to tune things up to get ready for the playoffs. But more importantly, issue at hand, snap this 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, wake up the doldrums in the offense and find a way to score some goals on Mads Vince tonight. It's a great tune-up. The postseason's kind of already been here for the Bandits with, just needing to end this losing streak tonight. This is almost a playoff game, although neither team has too much stake on the line outside of the Bandits finding out whether they're going to be here or Toronto next week for a playoff game. Both these teams know they're going to the postseason, but I think this will still have like a playoff atmosphere to it tonight here at the FNC.
Expecting a crowd of 19,000 in Fan Appreciation Night. They just had a pregame ceremony with the 2014 Fan of the Year. And Matt received a Bandits jersey of number 14, obviously a nice trophy, and will receive some other prizes as well, as will the fans here tonight at First Niagara Center throughout the game. A lot of prizes, not only in the concourse, but being dropped from the rafters of the ceiling, and it's always a great time. And most importantly, some great NLL action will be going on down on the floor with the Knighthawks and Bandits. The game is next. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
On defense, number 7.
from the First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo. The Bandits close out the regular season against the Rochester Knighthawks. Hello, everybody. This is John Gertler, and welcome to Bandits Lacrosse. The team mired in a 7-game slide, and despite the merits of the play last Saturday night in Rochester, which was their lowest offensive output of the record books, this slip has turned into a major fault movement in the lax world. Everybody is running the numbers and trying to come up with a reason. Alongside the broadcast tonight, my partner will be Dave Buchanan of WGR Sports Radio 550 here in Buffalo, and filling in for Randy Mearns. Randy Mearns, that is. Dave, what about your thoughts tonight coming into this evening's game for this Bandit team trying to snap a 7-game streak?
Yeah, tonight is a must-win game, although the Bandits are playoff bound. I think you got to win this one tonight to get this team pointed in the right direction for the postseason, especially point them right back here at the First Niagara Center for a meeting with the Toronto Rock here next Saturday night.
The prompts have not changed. Very specific. Win tonight for the Buffalo Bandits means a home playoff game a week from tonight against the Toronto Rock, who are in action this evening in St. Paul at the Xcel Energy Center against the Swarm. So the Bandits, quite simply, play the 60 minutes. Play like they know how to play. And more importantly, I guess, from the broadcast location looking down onto the turf, is just relax and do what you can do.
Yeah, these guys are pretty loose. I mean, they're happy to be back home. They've played so many games on the road here in the second half of the season. They've been all over Vancouver, Edmonton, Rochester, Toronto. They're just glad to be back here tonight. They want to put on a good show for the fans.
Crowd of about 19,000 expected this evening in Fan Appreciation Night, and we are focusing into the turf area for the presentation of the colors and the singing of the Canadian and U.S. national anthem as sung by South Buffalo's Patrick Kennedy. Let's go down to the turf and pick this up before the start of tonight's game.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free, from far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
South Buffalo's Patrick Kennedy singing the Canadian and U.S. national anthems tonight here at the First Niagara Center. Hi, everybody. John Gertler along with Dave Buchanan getting ready for this evening's game with the Buffalo Bandits. And Rochester Knighthawks. The Bandits trying to snap a 7-game losing streak, trying to finish at 500. The Rochester Knighthawks will just be cruising into the postseason. They've got the bye next week. They're on a 4-game winning streak, 13-4 overall. To our broadcast left will be the Buffalo Bandits, and hovering around the starting goaltender, Anthony Cosmo, coming into this evening's game with a .802 save percentage, an 8-8 record, setting the all-time save mark last week. He comes into this evening's game with 714 saves. He also has 10 assists. To our broadcast right will be Matt Vince, the 3-time goaltender of the year in the National Lacrosse League, .802 save percentage as well, an 11-3 record. 555 saves coming into this evening's game, 9.26 goals against. This guy is spectacular. David, we watched him in his pregame warm-up tonight down on the turf, and he is quite a juggler in his concentration.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. 3 balls going for quite an extended amount of time, and then a couple over the shoulder, 1 under the leg. He could have a second career as a circus performer. That's how good he was. Watching him do that. Number 48, as always, for the Rochester Knighthawks. Oh, so good. He fills that net so well, and he is always tough against these Bandits.
Crew chief tonight is Chris Williams. The assistant referee this evening is Sean Grenier. A shot clock operator, Robert Gross. And down to the turf we go with the official draw of tonight's game. And BJ Thornburg for the Buffalo Bandits. 56% coming into this evening's competition. 234 face-off wins. And going against Dylan Evans at 49%, 190 face-off wins to start. And Dylan Evans also a member of the Wolfpack Award. Many of the awards distributed last week by the Rochester Knighthawks at their home finale during the regular season. Here we go. Great to have you with us tonight, with the Bandits winning the draw. And in over the line is Mark Stainhouse coming out that front door and is a part of the forward on the left side. Working it back over to Sean Williams from the top of the slot. Here's Williams now, allowing the play to ooze out a little bit, but unfortunately Ryan Benesh on a bad pick will afford the Knighthawks to come out of their own zone in their first rush of the night. Fan appreciation night here in Buffalo. Expected crowd of over 19,000. As the Knighthawks working from the slot area, a bouncing ball comes right to the big webbing of Anthony Cosmo. He outlets the ball down the right wing lane over to Chad Cope. In over the line as the Bandits take the shot right on. Vince coming in with a save. The rebound goes to David Brock. Back over to Mitch Jones. Here's the rookie Jones with a shot, and Vince seeing that one in the belly, and he'll outlet it down the right wing lane. No score here in the first quarter of play. And the Knighthawks working the ball out at midfield. Mike Hazen, the head coach of the Knighthawks, changing things up on the fly, and approaching is Corey Vitorelli. Far side passes, it goes all the way down into the corner. Top of the slot is Craig Point, down to the near side to big Dan Dawson. Dawson far side, shot, goal, Rochester. As that ball hit the turf first and went to the right side of Anthony Cosmo.
Yeah, Joe Walters fired that one, I believe, kind of a wounded duck. It hit the turf before it got to the crease and caught Kaz off guard, and it found its way past the back of the net as it just bounced as it hit the top of the crease area, and Kaz just wasn't prepared for it, and probably one he'd like back.
15th goal of the season for Joe Walters, the Community Service Award winner for the Knighthawks.
Yeah, he's great for the Rochester community. Any kind of fundraiser event they do in the Rochester community, you can see Joe Walters involved.
He has his own sandwich at Subway as well, that's Joe Walters. 11 assists in 3 games for Joe Walters, and he gets on the scoreboard with his 15th. 1-0 Rochester. Here's Mark Stainhouse from the far corner, top of the slot to Vince with a shot, and Vince is there making the save. That surprised him. And the rebound is picked up by the veteran netminder, outletting it down the left wing lane over to Scott Campbell. 23 forced turnovers for Campbell this year, leaving the ball off to big dangerous Dan Dawson, who directs traffic from the left point. Dawson, 3 100-point-plus seasons in his illustrious career. Far corner, here come the Knighthawks. Shot straight on, and that's Cody Jamieson coming into this evening's game with 98 points.
Yeah, he's looking to become the first Nighthawk since John Grant 2007 to eclipse the triple-digit mark in the point column.
Mitch Jones brings the Bandits in over the line, tipping it back over to Sean Williams. Williams tried to get it back over to Mitch Jones, misplaced the ball, saved the over and back charge. Bandits with 15 to shoot. 1-0 Rochester, top of the slot is Statehouse with a shot, and that's waved off.
Bandits are going to get a penalty here. Steve Priolo knocked down a Rochester player in the offensive zone cross-checking call here to Priolo. So Rochester is going to get the first power play of the night.
50% power play for the Knighthawks. They went 0 for 2 last week against these Bandits. 24 for 50 coming into this evening's game. The Bandits, 53%.
They had 3 power play goals last week, John, but they had 9 opportunities, so they're still only 33%.
Knighthawks working the power play. Dawson leaves it over to Jamison, who works it from the top of the slot. Now to Jamison, shooting, he scores. Jamison with a laser, 2-0 Rochester.
That was just some back and forth with Jamison and Dawson, and he just let one rip from the top of the zone, and it blew right by Anthony Cosmo as Cody Jamison notches his 99th point of the season for number 88 for the Bandits. That one just beating Cosmo, looked like on the glove side there.
35th of the season for Cody Jamison, 2-0 Rochester on the power play. Draw controlled by Buffaloes. They started up out at midfield. Open front door. Jay Thornburg loses the ball. It's picked up by the Knighthawks. Scott Campbell is there to scoop it away, and he'll rush it down the left wing lane. Knighthawks caught by surprise there. They got to get back into formation here because they've got the ball on the rush. So Hazen puts out the Gunners from the front door, and out they run. Working it now to the far side, Stephen Kehoe is back in the lineup. Here's Dan Dawson, near side pass. Fendering about in front, saved Cosmo, point blank range shot. And that one was a good setup by the Knighthawks on Stephen Kehoe. Here come the Bandits, down 2-0. In over the line comes Stainhouse from the left side. Forced to the outside from the far corner. Stainhouse trying to deke his way closer. Working the shot clock accordingly, setting up the play as Stainhouse hangs onto the ball. Tries to tip it back over in front over to Joel Matthews, but that is pushed down into the near corner. And the ball picked up by the Knighthawks, and here they come. In transition, out at midfield, leading it 2-0. Joe Walters and Cody Jamison, the goal scorers tonight. Jamison with the ball. Back over to Dan Dawson, who works it outside the Buffalo restraining line. Far side pass as it's picked up now by Jamison. Centering it out to Vitarelli. He scores! 3-0 Rochester.
Vitarelli gets around a Bandit defender and gets to go one-on-one with Cosmo, and he's able to beat Cos 5-hole there. Nice little bounce shot as Vitarelli sneaks behind Kevin Brownell, and it's an easy goal for Vitarelli as it's already 3-0 Rochester, not even 4 minutes into the game. This is not the start the Bandits needed. They need to pick up the pace here and get some shots on Matt Vince. 11
goals in his last 6 games for Cordy Vitarelli. 23rd of the season, 3-0 Knighthawks. Bandits with the ball. Down into the Knighthawks zone. Jory Resetaris with it. Far side pass over to Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse now over to John Tavares. Here's Tavares digging his way in close from the near side. Hanging onto the ball. Floating it back. Low drive by Dane Smith. Stopped by Vince right at the goal line and picked up by the Knighthawks. We'll probably see a little bit more of 92 for Buffalo. Dane Smith in on the rushes. He's got a great low laser, and he laid one on to Matt Vince. Here come the Knighthawks again. Craig Point with a shot. He scores!
Again, great offense by Rochester. Little pass. Everybody forgets about Craig Point, who sneaks in behind the Buffalo defenders, and he gets to go one-on-one with Cosmos. 2 Bandits go on the ball handler, who passes the ball to Point, who's left all alone, and he goes short side on Cosmo, and just Buffalo it's the defense too right now struggling. Just nothing can get going here as everybody went after Cody Jamison and left Point all alone one-on-one with Cos.
16th of the season for Craig Point. Speaking of points, 17 points in his last 4 games coming into this evening. Did not play last week, so he's fresh. And the Knighthawks with a 4-0 lead here in the early goings of this quarter number 1. Bandits are just stunned, as are the fans here at First Niagara Center. As the Knighthawks set up shop, saved by Cosmo. Making the outlet pass. Right wing side, picked up now by Buffalo. In over the line comes Chad Culp, dishing it back over to Sean Williams. Williams tipping it to Benesh. Here is Stainhouse, far side. Good ball movement by Joel Matthews as it dribbles to the doorstep of Matt Vince, who easily outlets the ball. And here comes the Knighthawks down the left wing lane by Big Paul Dawson. 4-0 Knighthawks here in the first quarter of play. 9 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. Now the Knighthawks get over the line. Cody Jamison. Not a bad night so far here in quarter number 1. Working the ball from the far corner. Getting hampered by Thornburg. Getting him some room to move. Now Craig Point with the ball. Tipping it to the top of the slot. Ball is picked up by David Brock. Nice turnover for the Bandits. And in over the line comes Derek Suttons. Back over to Brock. Here's Brock. Shooting left side of the Knighthawks net. Bandits get the rebound, work it from the top of the slot. Mitch Jones now from the right point, scooting inside the Knighthawks zone. Top of the slot as it goes. There's Joey Resetaris. Back over to Tavares. Tavares working it from the slot area. Back over to Mitch Jones. Jones tried to get the shot away, couldn't do it. Whips it out in front, nobody there. Rebound to the right side. Resetaris couldn't get it, but Knighthawks have it. They lead it 4-0 here in the first quarter of play. 8 minutes and 34 seconds remaining. Fans just stunned, and the Knighthawks just battle away and rack up the goals, leading it 4-0 off of 7 shots. Bandits with 4. Here come the Knighthawks near side. There's a drive by Kehoe, goes wide. Rebound picked up out at midfield. Dan Dawson with just 4 to shoot, throws it in the corner. A long drive goes wide with 1 to shoot. And the bouncing ball is left alone down to the Bandit zone and stops things with 8 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. First quarter, 4-0 Rochester. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans, flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net, scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary!
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Our producer for the Lacrosse Network. Great to have you with us. 4-0 Knighthawks. Have the rundown for you in just a couple of moments, but back to the turf as the play picks up down in the Knighthawk zone. Here are the Bandits. Mark Stainhouse working the ball, trying to feed it back over to Brian Badesh, but it's intercepted by the tight Knighthawks defense, and down the left wing lane come the Hawks, led by Brad Self, firing it back over to Craig Point. Coming out the front door and allowing the forwards to get on the turf and down into the Bandit zone. Point working it from the top of the slot. Outside the line he goes, getting a couple of chops from Chad Cope. Tipping it now to Stephen Kehoe, back over to Point, who works it back over to Johnny Pallas, deep into the corner. Over to Cody Jamieson, gets a couple of shots there. Long drive with 2 to shoot, and it's stopped right at the line by Anthony Cosmo. And scooping it out, the Bandits come up with Dane Smith at midfield. 4-0 Knighthawks. 8 shots on goal by the Hawks. Joe Walters started things off at 116. Here come the Bandits. High ball hitting the netting, picked up by the Bandits. Remains their ball, and the shot clock is reset. Or will it?
Penalty coming up here, John, on John Sullivan getting a cross-checking call here. He's going to sit, so Buffalo are going to get their first power play of the night. As Sullivan decked one of the Bandit offensive players in the zone. So John Tavares in the PP unit huddling up, getting their orders.
With 43% last week in their 2 games, Tavares worked quarterback from the top of the slot. Banesh is to the near side. Behind the net is Williams. Deep into the corner is Joey Resetaris. Stainhouse is there. Here's Tavares back over to Stainhouse. Setting up the play. Tavares for the shot. He scores!
That was a carbon copy of Rochester's power play goal, where Stainhouse and Tavares just tossed the ball back and forth, just like Dawson and Jamieson did earlier. And just like Cody Jamieson, Tavares just lets one rip from the top of the zone, and it beats Matt Vince. Almost identical goal to the Rochester power play goal.
24th of the season for the all-time leading scorer in the National Lacrosse League, John Tavares. The goose egg comes off the scoreboard here at the First Niagara Center in Buffalo. And number 11 from the top of the slot, letting a shot go, beating the glove side of Matt Vince. 4-1 Rochester. Bandits on the power play. making the conversion. Sean Williams now back over to Ryan Benesh. Another penalty coming up against the Knighthawks as Benesh gets his way close over to Vince. Leaves it out in front. Shot save. Vince read that one beautifully of Sean Williams. And another penalty coming up against the Knighthawks.
Yeah, Sid Smith looks like he's going to sit for 2 minutes on a slashing call, and Buffalo goes right back on the power play. A holding call for Sid Smith. So again, John Tavares going to draw up another play in the sand and hope to get Buffalo's second goal tonight here with the extra man.
6:28 left to play, quarter number 1, 4-1 Knighthawks. Bandits on their second power play opportunity. John Tavares works it from the top of the slot. Stainhouse from the left point side. He's got Benesh at the right point. Deep into the corner is Resetaris. And Sean Williams is to the near side. Here's Joey Resetaris back over to Williams with a give and go. Save. Vince read that one beautifully. Williams gets his own rebound. Shot clock reset. Tavares back over to Benesh. Benesh far side over to Mark Stainhouse. Retrieves the ball from the turf. Plenty of time to shoot. Setting up the play. Benesh with a shot goes wide. Benesh gets his own rebound. Back over to Stainhouse. Scurries back from it on the left point. Back over to Tavares at the top of the slot. 4-1. Knighthawks. Benesh with a shot. Vince with a save. Shot clock reset. Settling things down. Tavares directs the traffic from the top of the slot as the quarterback on the power play. Here's Tavares with the lane. Now to Benesh. Far side over to Resetaris. He scores!
Textbook power play by the Buffalo Bandits. Set it up, get some shots, get some rebounds, and reset the clock and have another go at it. And that's exactly what they did. And they finally started getting guys moving around, getting that Vince sliding side to side, and they found Joe Resetaris, who's able to just fire one over the shoulder of Matt Vince here. And Buffalo now gets their second of the night as Resetaris just tucks one over the left shoulder of Matt Vince. Nice power play by the Bandits. That was refreshing to see.
26 of the season for the second-year pro, Joey Resetaris from Hamburg, New York. 14 goals in the last 8 games. Here come the Bandits again.
Nice turnover recovery there by Dane Smith. Had an odd man rush there. Couldn't cash in, though. But momentum right now trailing for the Bandits.
Bandits right back into this thing on a mini run. Now 4-2 Knighthawks. They've got the ball down into the Bandits zone. Here's Craig Point. There's a shot by Kehoe. He scores. As Craig Point finding it open. Stephen Kehoe.
Yeah, Kehoe ends the Bandit run there at 2 as he's able to get on the doorstep of the crease. Nice feed from Craig Point as he's able to sneak by Chad Culp. And he goes low on Anthony Cosmo. And we're going to have a challenge here, John, as Kehoe might have been on the line when he made that shot. And Troy Cordinley throws out the challenge flags to one of our first challenge of the night here with just about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
4:59 left to play. Quarter number 1. Rochester 5 right at the moment. Bandits 2. This is Bandits Lacrosse. This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season. Score! Stainhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores! Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Your Knighthawks are heading to the playoffs. The quest to make history begins on Saturday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come cheer on your Knighthawks as they look to bring home the Champions Cup. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com or by calling 585-454-HAWK. That's 585-454-4295. The Rochester Knighthawks. No limits lacrosse.
Get some new team gear for the season by visiting the NLL shop online. Go to shop.nll.com for the best prices and selection on clothing and accessories for all 9 teams with flat rate shipping and no hassle returns. Here is the call. It's going to stand.
Troy Cordley taking a chance there. Throw the challenge flag out as we'll get another look here in the arena. And Kehoe, right foot on the line, but he gets it off the line as the ball goes in. That's a close one there. 5-2
Rochester here in the first quarter of play. And hang on here. Were they will take it out. I saw the media timeout light during the challenge. And now they're going to take it, so it'll give us a chance
Do a little song and dance here.
review what's happened here so far in the game. If you just joined us, 1:16 mark. Joe Walters getting on the scoreboard for the Knighthawks from Dan Dawson and Craig Point. At 2:41, Cody Jamieson on the power play from Dan Dawson. Rochester goes up 3-0 at 3:57 from Corey Vittorelli finding net from Cody Jamieson and Dan Dawson. Knighthawks 4-0 at 4:36. Craig Point from Cody Jamieson and Stephen Kehoe. Bandits then get on the scoreboard with 2 back-to-back power plays. It's John Tavares from Mark Steinhaus at 8:08, and then at 9:26, Joey Resetaris on the power play from Ryan Benesh and John Tavares. So the 100-point watch for Cody Jamieson achieved.
And now he's looking to win the league scoring title. He came in tonight trailing Garrett Billings of the Toronto Rock by just a couple of points. And, of course, Billings out for the rest of the season with that torn ACL. So Jamieson, I think, has now tied Garrett Billings. So one more point, he'll take the scoring lead. And he's hoping to wrap up the scoring title tonight.
Fan Appreciation Night here in Buffalo. The regular season home finale. And the Bandits treating the fans quite well. And it started right at the beginning of the game with Matt Wisakowski, the 2014 Bandits Fan of the Year, and he was out at center field with his 2014 new Bandits jersey, trophy, and a bundle of other prizes as presented by Richie Kilgore, assistant coach and director of lacrosse operations Scott Loeffler. And all sorts of prizes are flying around here at the arena as we speak. But down on the turf we go with the Knighthawks posting a 5-2 lead into this fray down into the Bandit zone from the top of the slot area. Joe Walters tripping it from the right point, leaves it into the corner. Working it now to Stephen Kehoe, taking the shot. He scores! Kehoe.
Oh boy, that's not a good sign when you see Anthony Cosmo give up a goal like that as Kehoe gets a run and is able, they keep shooting these bounce shots that go right through the legs of Anthony Cosmo, and he gets around Rory Smith and gets a run to the net, another one-on-one chance there. And now Kehoe has back-to-back goals, and we are going to have a goaltending change here, John, as, like I said, wasn't a good sign seeing Anthony Cosmo give up goals like that. And for the first time in a long time, Curtis Wagar's been called into duty.
.800 save percentage, just played in some 20 minutes so far this year. 3-8 lifetime, 16 saves. He was in Preston early position at the beginning of the season. So Weger in between the pipes for the Bandits as Anthony Cosmo allowing 6 goals on 10 Nighthawk shots. Here come the Bandits. Shot wide. Rebound. Williams, he scores.
Sean Williams picks up the rebound off the boards and is able to catch Matt Vince out of position and buries one on the glove side of Vince, and Buffalo gets back within 3 now. Big goal there for Sean Williams, and good week for the Williams family with Tucker Williams reportedly out of the hospital, and Sean scores one there.
13th of the season for Sean Williams. 3rd goal of the night for the Buffalo Bandits off 10 shots. It's 6-3. Nighthawks here in quarter number 1. Here come the Bandits after winning the draw. In over the line is Benesh. Lifts it over to John Tavares. Finds it open, Williams. Now Tavares works it from the right point. Top of the slot as it goes back to Williams. Reading it. Williams with a shot blocked into traffic, and the ball is picked up by Scott Self, the veteran defenseman, using the left wing boards to leave it back over to Dylan Evans. 6-3 Nighthawks here in quarter number 1. Craig Point quick from the front door. Back onto the turf he goes. Field wide pass over to Cody Jamieson. In over the line. Working it now. Jamieson getting swatted by Steve Priolo, but hanging on to that ball with 10 to shoot. Dan Dawson from the point. Rory Smith over Dawson if they go one-on-one with each other. Dawson working his way close to Curtis Wager. And the 30-second shot clock expires, so good defense by Buffalo. 6-3 Nighthawks here in quarter number 1. Mitch Jones brings the ball down the right wing lane. Rookie in his 4th game for the Bandits. Benesh far side pass over to Mark Steinhaus. There's Jones with a shot. He scores! Joel Matthews, goal number 1.
And Joel Matthews gets his first career NLL goal as he's able to get loose there in the Rochester defense, and he fires one past Matt Vince. And again, Buffalo gets back-to-back goals for the 2nd time tonight. As the play develops, Steinhaus sees Matthews open up at the top of the zone, gets a clear shot, and he goes top over the shoulder of Matt Vince. Nice goal by Joel Matthews. He had some injury problems in his first 2 camps with the Bandits, but he's healthy and he is now contributing to this Bandits team.
Oh, the rookie out of Detroit Mercy getting on the scoreboard for the Bandits, coming in within 2 with 2 minutes and 57 seconds left to play of this first quarter. Bandits shot goes wide. Banesh gathers it, working it back over to Mark Stainhouse. Now tipping it over to the far side, over to Joey Resetaris. Uses the turf to get it to Banesh. Now to Williams. Williams working it back over to Stainhouse, looking for a lane. Stainhouse closing in. Stainhouse working it back over to Resetaris, but it's stopped by Vince right from the left side of the Rochester net.
Curtis Wagar, we saw him a lot last season with the struggles Anthony Cosmo had, but for Wagar, this is only his 3rd appearance in game action. We saw him for a little bit against Edmonton, and then we haven't seen any extended work for him since the season opener against Philadelphia.
Knighthawks with the ball down in the Bandit zone, leading at 6-4. Working it out is Craig Point from the left point as he works in, loses the ball. Ball picked up by the Bandits in a breakout now for Buffalo. Working the ball to the line as David Brock brings the Bandits right to the Knighthawks restraining line. Troy Cordingley changing things up quickly on the fly as John Tavares gets the ball from Brock. Tavares, high pass, back over to Banesh, back over to Tavares with the shot. Tried to go high heater right side of Vince. Rebound comes out to midfield, save the over and back charge, 5 to shoot. Here's Banesh with a drive, and Vince comes up with the save. Now hang on, we've got a little bit of an off-ball skirmish in front of the Knighthawks bench as Paul Dawson takes one of the Bandit players right into the Knighthawks bench. And that's Steve Priolo, and I believe we're going to have a little toe-to-toe as Priolo already has his gear off.
Yeah, Joel Matthews and Steve Priolo mixing it up as Priolo got deposited in the Rochester bench, and he was none too pleased when he got back up on his feet. And Joel Matthews also mixing it up with one of the Rochester players, and Matthews is going to the penalty box to a standing ovation here at the First Niagara Center, and they're still trying to keep a couple guys separated. John Tavares and Paul Dawson now are being separated as Dawson is being escorted to the penalty box as well.
Showing the replay on the big Jumbotron here at the First Niagara Center as Steve Priolo was pushed right into the Knighthawks bench area. He immediately jumped back out, and they're still having a verbal assault.
Yeah, Priolo,
respective players.
Priolo and Dawson still chirping it up between the boxes right now as Priolo and Matthews in the Buffalo penalty box, Paul Dawson and Cody Jamieson in the Rochester penalty box right now. And they're still chirping, and Matthews and Priolo having a shouting match with Paul Dawson, who's just trying to wave him off right now. But boy, it's pretty interesting down there watching these two guys go at it, even between the boxes, just shouting at each other.
Joel Matthews on the scoreboard tonight with his first NLL goal, and now sitting in the box trying to simmer down. He's got his jersey off as well, and he's still having quite a verbal toss between the off-field officials and over to the Knighthawks penalty box. And finally, the off-field and on-field officials come out and say, you got to settle it down here a little bit, and let's figure out what's going on. To Chris Swenson down on the turf.
Each 2 minutes for roughing.
So
Paul Dawson, Cody Jamieson, Joel Matthews, and Steve Priolo, each 2 minutes for roughing. 5-on-5 on the floor.
So we'll be back to action in just a couple of moments, getting the stage reset. The Knighthawks with a 6-4 lead. Anthony Cosmo has been pulled, allowing 6 goals off 10 shots, and the Bandits have responded positively, might I add, with a couple of goals to get back into this game.
Yeah, and you know, Cosmo getting pulled might not have been about his performance, more just Troy Cordingley trying to wake his players up, and now they got to really play knowing that the anchor of this team is sitting on the bench for probably the rest of the night.
Sean Williams and Joel Matthews, most recent to score for the Bandits. There's a shot straight on, and Vince coming up with a big save, and the rebound cleared back out by the Knighthawks, and here they come to midfield. Knighthawks leading at 6-4. First quarter action. In over the line is Kehoe. Far side pass. Tipping it over to Joel Walters, who opened the scoring of tonight's game. Dan Dawson well outside the line, eyeing up the situation with a 6'5" frame. Down in the corner is Walters. Trying to beat one-on-one with Jay Thornburg. There's Kehoe with a shot that goes wide of Wager. Rebound all the way back out of midfield and over back charge. A good break for Buffalo. In over the line come the Bandits. There's a shot on by Thornburg. Saved by Vince. Rebound. Dane Smith. Shot clock reset and everything. Mitch Jones with the ball down into the Nighthawks zone. Bandits looking to get a change here. Trying to get the combination going out on the turf as we continue to play 5-on-5. Here's John Tavares running in. Back behind the net. Trying to get it back over to Mitch Jones. Looks like another penalty coming up against the Nighthawks, and that stopped things with 34.6 seconds remaining. 6-4 Nighthawks, but the Bandits, Dave Buchanan, back with a man advantage.
Yeah, Scott Campbell got a hold of John Tavares as he was trying to go to the net, and Campbell will sit for 2 minutes. And going back to the offsetting minors before, it's kind of a win. Even though it's only 2-minute minors, you take the league's leading scorer off the field for 2 minutes. I call that a win for the Bandits. So now they'll have a chance here for another power play goal.
John Tavares quarterbacks the power play from the top of the slot. Mark Stainhouse with his left and Banesh at right. Deep into the corner is Sean Williams, who scoots out with the ball. Here's Williams with a shot that goes wide. Rebound, Buffalo. Tavares working it down into the corner. In to help is Banesh, but the ball picked up by the Nighthawks. And Scott Self starts it up for the Hawks at midfield. Will be an over and back charge against the Nighthawks, and the ball picked up by Buffalo's Chad Culp. Good heads up move by Chad Culp. Here's Culp with a shot that goes wide. Rebound. Picks back up and hang on. We lost the shot clock and we've come out of time. Run out of time here for the first quarter. A wild one, 6-4 Nighthawks after one. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Struck twice for the Nighthawks to extend the lead back to 4, but then Buffalo finished the quarter with 2 more goals to make it 6-4. We did see Anthony Cosmo get pulled, John, but to start the second quarter, number 44 back between the pipes for the Bandits. Anthony Cosmo returning to the crease after taking some time off there. He is regrouped and refocused, ready to try and help his team get back ahead of this game.
So about 5 minutes for Curtis Wagger, and then working from our broadcast right here for quarter number 2. Cosmo back between the pipes. Here's Buffalo with Joey Reseteris taking a shot point-blank range on Matt Vence, who stops it and will collect his breath before he makes the outlet pass down the right wing lane over to Brad Self. 6-4 Nighthawks. Quarter number 2. Bandits will be attacking to our broadcast left, but the Nighthawks now control the ball. Joe Walters, who started the scoring of tonight's game, working it field wide. Crisscross each other as the Nighthawks trying to get across the line. Good pressure on by Buffalo's defense, holding the Nighthawks at bay well outside the line, and Kehoe sweeping in from the far side. Couldn't make the connection. Here come the Bandits. Down the left wing lane is David Brock, working the ball right before the restraining line of Rochester as Buffalo changes up on the fly, and the big guns come out, led by John Tavares. Mark Stainhouse. Joey Resiteris will be deep into the near corner. Sean Williams from the far corner, who sets up a pick shot. Save. Vince, rebound. Buffalo. Here's Resiteris with a shot. It's saved by Vince into traffic, and the rebound picked up by the Knighthawks. How that got over to a Nighthawk, I'm not sure.
Resiteris delayed there for a second. I was hoping he was going to shoot it a little bit sooner as he had Vince out of position, but unfortunately he took the shot, and a big save there by Matt Vince as we're back to even strength.
Here come the Nighthawks in over the line. Working it from the outside is Joe Walters. Here's Walters from the slot area. Double teamed on the play. Swatted back to the far side as it goes to Dawson. Pellis with a shot that goes wide. Rebound, score.
Dangerous Dan Dawson, and Anthony Cosmo wants a challenge, but the Bandits use their challenge. Now we got the referees huddling here as Dawson got the ball off the backboard and put it past Anthony Cosmo. And
Craig Point actually got a piece of it right at the goal line and looked like he was from the outside.
And we might have a review here. As
crew chief tonight, Point. Chris Williams.
Excuse me, Craig Point scoring that goal, not Dan Dawson.
So the crew chief, Chris Williams, going over to the off-field officials and having a chat. Robert Gross, the shot clock operator, also involved in the conversation. See where the ball will be positioned or the goal will count. John Tavares having a chat now with crew chief Williams, and we'll see what happens.
I don't think it's a goal, John, as Buffalo looks like they're going to assume possession here. I don't think he was in the crease, so maybe I think the shot clock might have run out. But still don't have an official word.
6-4 Knighthawks as it stands here at First Niagara Center on the scoreboard.
And they're still talking it over.
Trying to get things worked out. Shots on goal, I think a little bit off on the margin a little bit. Knighthawks still remain with 10. Buffalo went out with 20. 16 in the first quarter of play. And see what happens here. They're going to put the players back into the bench, the penalty box.
Apparently
Joel Matthews and Steve Priolo have to finish serving theirs from the end of the run, as will Paul Dawson and Cody Jamieson. Good point by you, Dave Buchanan, the fact that Jamieson's been on off the field so long.
Yeah, although it's been a little bit longer than 2 minutes. I don't know why those guys are still in the box. If they were given 2-minute minors, those penalties should have been long over with.
So we're back to action with Mark Stainhouse pulling it out of his own zone and working it out to midfield. 6-4 Knighthawks. Bandits trying to get back into this game. Down one time, 4-0. Boom, 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 boom. End of the line is Resiteris, near side over his Stainhouse. He works it from the slot area. Far side pass. Shot wide off the stick of Tavares. Rebound is picked up. Check that. Benesh. The rebound is picked off by the Knighthawks, and it's cleared back down the right wing lane. Campbell brings them out. Hazen making the change as Joe Walters goes field wide. Back over to Stephen Kehoe to Dawson. Tipping it back to the far side now over to Walters. In over the line they go from the right wing side as Walters looks for an open lane. He's got it, takes the shot. Cosmo with a save and the rebound, David Brock. Brock getting out of his own zone. Hampered by Johnny Pallas, but Brock finds an opening and gets it over to Dane Smith. Smith in over the line, getting close to Vince. Here's Smith with the ball. Far side passes, it's tipped back over to Jones. Back over to Smith. Smith whirling. Here's Smith with a shot. Splitting save by Vince. Rebound picked up by the Knighthawks and worked out of their own zone. 12:04 remaining, quarter number 2. 6-4 Knighthawks. Last game of the regular season campaign for the Buffalo Bandits. A win tonight will give them the home playoff game against Toronto a week from tonight. Corey Vitarelli tipping it back over to Walters. Being hampered, finding relief to the far side is Stephen Kehoe. Sweeping in. Kehoe with a shot. Big save by Cosmo. Stops the ball. And a pile up in front of the Buffalo net area has Cosmo springing back up and giving a little bit of a palm sandwich to Stephen Kehoe. And
Cosmo's back down. He got run into by Kehoe. And Cosmo now looks like he's experiencing some kind of pain as Dr. Sherry Lachaume going to attend to Cosmo in the crease while Stephen Kehoe's going to the penalty box, it looks like. And this is going to be interesting, John. Watch when Priolo, Matthews, and Jamison all get out of the box here. They're yapping before they even get back on the floor. They must all been given 5 minutes because they've been in the box a long time, even though score sheet says minors. Now they're releasing Jamison and Dawson.
Goaltender interference for Stephen Kehoe. So the Bandits will be back onto the power play, and the quad of players released from the respective penalty boxes. Joel Matthews and Steve Priolo, and back to our broadcast right down to the Bandits net area with Anthony Cosmo. Looks like he's okay. Dr. Sherry Lachaume back over to the Bandits bench already, and we'll be back with play with the man advantage coming up for the Bandits.
Kehoe just took a dive there at Cosmo's knee, but Anthony back on both feet and stays within the crease down at the Bandits end of the floor.
Fourth power play opportunity for Buffalo. Looking for a goal here from the top of the slot is Benesh. Now over to Steenhouse. He scores!
Mark Steenhouse picking a corner, and the Bandits score with the extra man once again as Benesh flips it over to Mark Steenhouse, and now the Bandits are back within one as Ryan Benesh now already has 4 assists on the night. And Benesh sees Steenhouse with plenty of room at the top of the zone, and he goes over the left shoulder of Matt Vince. Back within one are the Bandits.
28th goal of the season for Steenhouse. Here come the Knighthawks with a shot straight on. Good save by Cosmo. Rebound down the left wing lane is Dane Smith. Turning on the speed, in over the line he goes. Smith forced down into the near Rochester corner as Steenhouse now gets the ball. Takes a couple of swipes as well from Sid Smith. Feed pass out in front for Dane Smith. Couldn't make the connection. A rebound into the far Nighthawks corner. Sid Smith throwing his weight around, jarring the ball free, and is picked up by the Nighthawks. And they dash back out at center. 6-5 Nighthawks. Bandits right back into this game, down once, 4-0 as Scott Self gets hammered down to the left corner, works it back in a shoveling move over to Corey Vitarelli from the right point. Here's Vitarelli, his 10 to shoot. Left side of the Buffalo net. Vitarelli getting hit by Rory Smith as Vitarelli goes down to the turf, and Buffalo's got the ball. Down the left wing lane comes Steve Priolo. Out at center, the big defenseman, one of the leading scorers for defensemen in the NLL, working the ball to the far side over to Benesh. Now deep into the corner to Sean Williams. Second quarter action. Shot score! Buffalo! Joey Reseteris.
JR gets a nice run around the Rochester defender, and he's able to go low stick side on Matt Vince, and we are all tied at 6-6 now with 10-12 to go in the second quarter. Nice moves by Joe Reseteris, who gets alone in front of the net. As it's the feed across from Williams, and he finds Reseteris cutting around Kirk, and he's able to deposit it into the net, all tied up, John.
Second goal of the night for Reseteris, 27th of the season, and locked at 6. 23 shots on goal for Buffalo. Turning it on here in this second quarter of the game. 9:59 remaining. 6-6. This is Bandits Lacrosse. This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season. Score! Steenhouse loses a check, takes a shot, he scores! Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland. This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse.
Your Knighthawks are heading to the playoffs. The quest to make history begins on Saturday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come cheer on your Knighthawks as they look to bring home the Champions Cup. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com or by calling 585-454-HAWK. That's 585-454-4295. The Rochester Knighthawks. No limits lacrosse.
producer of the Lacrosse Network. Great to have you with us. Score tied at 6. Back to the action down on the turf as Buffalo works the ball from the right point. Joey Resetaris looking for 3. Couldn't do it. It's picked up by the Knighthawks, and down the right wing lane comes Scott Campbell as he works it in over the Buffalo line. Bandits getting themselves into defensive position as the Knighthawks set up Cody Jamieson. Tipping it down to the corner to a running Corey Vitarelli, who works it back over to Jamieson. Second quarter action, score tied at 6. Jamieson from the slot, floating the ball, low drive off Kehoe, wide, gets his own rebound, resets the shot clock. So they simmer down from the outside. Knighthawks get the bye next week. Penalty coming up against Buffalo, so Dawson works it from the left point. From the slot area, getting a couple of hacks along the way. There's Palace, far side, score! Tic-tac-toe, Knighthawks with the man advantage. And they take a 1-goal lead, 7-6.
Yeah, Craig Point there on the nice play with Paulus as Rory Smith was tying up with another Rochester player right in front of Cosmo. Forgot all about Craig Point. He was left alone. Cosmo tried to dive to avoid him, but unfortunately plenty of open net for Point, who scores once again this evening. His earlier goal that was waved off, it was a shot clock violation. We didn't hear the announcement here in the arena, but I confirmed with Joe Ray of Bandits PR that it was a shot clock violation, waved off Point's earlier goal.
Second goal of the night for Craig Point, 17th of the season overall, 7-6 Knighthawks here in the second quarter of play. Mark Stainhouse with the ball down to the Knighthawks near corner. He's got Dane Smith with him at the top of the slot. As Smith works it to the far side over to Tavares. Back over to Smith and Stainhouse. The trio getting close on Matt Vince. Here's Stainhouse shooting. Saved by Vince. Rebound picked up by the Knighthawks, Brad Self, and he'll turn on the speed out at midfield. 7-6 Knighthawks here in quarter number 2. Bandits down at one time, 4-0 in the early goings of this game. In over the line is Joe Walter. Getting hit by David Brock. Walters getting some room to move. Feed pass out in front, intended for Palace, but it's picked up by Cosmo, and he'll outlet the ball down the left wing line for Kevin Brunell. Brunell over the shoulder feed by Mitch Jones. Goes wide. Good connection by Kevin Brunell.
Yeah, you saw Mitch Jones running down the floor as Brock turns it over.
Paul Dawson with a shot. Steve Priolo taking Dawson down. 2 separate and back to action at the midfield. Rich Wild in over the line as he goes from the top of the slot. Working it far side. Pass over to Ryan Benesh. Benesh over to Williams. Williams left side pass over to Joel Matthews. Joel Matthews far side. Tipping it over to Williams. Looking. Top of the slot intended for Matthews, but it bounces out at midfield and a break for the Knighthawks as they break out right in over the line. John Sullivan shuts it down. Brad Smith allows the forwards to come out to the front door. Here's Self with a shot. Save Cosmo. Self with the rebound. Cosmo again. And they scored.
Oh, Self got his own rebound. The shot, Cosmo made the initial save on the rebound shot, but it trickled through his equipment and found its way across the goal line. And for now it is 8-6. And again, Self getting 2 chances. The initial shot, he gets his own rebound. Cosmo makes the save, but it trickles under his arm and across the goal line.
A live ball finding across the line, so the Knighthawks take a 2-goal lead. Good second effort by Brad Self.
Former Sabre and Bandit draft pick.
7th goal of the season. 8-6 Knighthawks, 7:03 left to play. Quarter number 2. Here's Dane Smith, shot going wide. Rebound jumps all the way back out at midfield. Over and back charge against the Bandits, so it'll be left out at midfield for the Knighthawks. Scooped up by Dan Dawson. Eyes out the situation from the face-off circle at center. Approaches the Buffalo line. Elects to go to the right wing, pass over to Cody Jamieson. Jamieson far side, pass over to Walters. Back over to Johnny Palace. Playing it off the boards as Palace tips it over to Point with a shot wide. Rebound. Knighthawks 10 to shoot. As Jamieson puts it into traffic. There is a shot. High side, far side. Save Cosmo. Off Dawson. Rebound Priello in over the Knighthawks line. As the big defenseman stages the play over to Mark Stainhouse. Working it here in the second quarter, down 8-6. Stainhouse getting some good blocking from Priello. Likes to go to the far side of it. Benesh, who rushes in. Benesh twirling, shooting it wide. Rebound bounces all the way back out at midfield, and it'll be picked up by the Knighthawks. And a good race by Self again. Working it back from the slot area. Shot, score! Knighthawks
Stephen Keogh's got the hot stick for the Knighthawks right now as Self all alone on the transition, sees Keogh coming off the bench. Self just flips it back to Keogh, gets a little bit of opening there and goes over the top shoulder, the shoulder of Anthony Cosmo, and Keogh now has a hat trick here tonight. And boy, this has just been a game of runs. 4 by Rochester, 2 by Buffalo, 2 by Rochester, 4 by Buffalo, and now 3 in a row by Rochester. The old saying, lacrosse is a game of runs.
Knighthawks with the ball, working it now, and they've got the edge just outside the Buffalo line, leading at 9-6 with 5:44 remaining. Bud Bailey of the Buffalo News will be our halftime guest here to talk about the regular season. We always have Bud on in the first, middle, and end of the regular season campaigns. Bouncing ball, Rory Smith getting the ball back out. Nice pass over to Dane Smith, starting it right up to the Rochester line. Trailing it is Kevin Brunell. Dane Smith hanging on to the ball, taking a look at things. Firing it back over now to Joey Resetaris, looking for the hat trick. Resetaris goes over to the far side to John Tavares, pushed outside the line. Finding an opening is Sean Williams, over the shoulder feed to Resetaris. Back over to Dane Smith with an over-shoulder shot, blocked into traffic. Rebound. Left into the near corner, 3 to shoot for Buffalo. As Resetaris takes a long drive, and Vince is there to meet it with a gut save, and the outlet pass down the right wing lane over to Scott Campbell. 9-6 Knighthawks as Campbell works it outside the line. Joe Walters working it, field wide, tipping it over to Johnny Pallas. Into the corner it goes over to Craig Point, working his way in on Rory Smith. Check that, Dan Dawson with a shot. Hit the goalpost left side of Cosmo. Rebound all the way back out to midfield. And it trickles down into the Nighthawk zone, picked up by the Bandits, John Tavares. Tavares flipping it back over. Here's Tavares again, staging it to Matthews. He scores!
Nice little give and go there between JT and Joel Matthews. And Matthews gets his second of the night. And it's a nice little back and forth on the 2-on-1. Matthews gets a nice one-on-one chance there with Matt Vince, and Vince talking to the referee on that. That was kind of close to an illegal change, and actually we might have a crease violation as the Rochester coach Mike Hazen has tossed the challenge flag on the floor here with 4:24 to go in the first half. As Matthews might have been on the crease, although Buffalo getting the home field advantage here, they're not putting the replay up on the Jumbotron as quickly as they would had the shoe on the other foot. The joys of being at home, you can control how quick those replays come for those close calls. And they do it better. Nobody does it better than the First Niagara Center production crew. But the ref, however, has to be seeing the replay, so he's going to put the headset on between the penalty boxes and take a look. As we're going to take a look here in the press box as well, John, as Matthews on the feed from Tavares. Right foot down, left foot. Ooh, it's going to be a close one. I think it'll stand. We'll see.
Getting a field level shot with Joel Matthews, looking for his second goal of the night. And here is a better angle that we're getting a shot on, and he's well outside the line, ball crossing it. So I don't believe the crew chief, Chris Williams, will spend much time with this one.
He's
coming out with his decision. It's a goal.
So another streak run ended here. Rochester there 3 in a row. Now can Buffalo finish off this first half, John, with a 3-goal run of their own, get this baby tied up at 9 going into the half. What a wild first half this has been. You see it, we've had a lot of Bandit games finish 9-7, but this is a first half still.
27 shots on goal for Buffalo, 20 for the Knighthawks. And the Knighthawks hold the 9-7 lead from the draw. The Knighthawks control it. Down the left wing lane is Dylan Evans, dishes it off to the forwards, coming out the front door of the Knighthawks bench. Cody Jamieson, leading scorer of the NLL, over to Dan Dawson. Here's Dawson with a shot, save Cosmo as Dawson went into the crease area. And the loose ball is picked up by Mitch Wild. He'll start it up for Buffalo down the left wing lane over to Dane Smith. He's got Kevin Brunell with him, along with Mark Stainhouse trailing. Stainhouse with a shot. That hit a back. Rebound into the far corner is Ryan Benesh. Benesh with the ball, 14 to shoot. Works it to the top of the slot. Tavares with a shot that goes wide. Rebound jumps all the way back out to midfield. Over and back charge, and that'll stop things with 3:38 left to play. Quarter number 2. It's a great one. Knighthawks 9, Bandits 7. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Joe Shalafu, our producer of the NLL Network.
Two other games in action. Colorado leads Philly 6-5 late in the second quarter, and Toronto and Minnesota knotted up at 1.
9-7 Rochester here in Buffalo. Bouncing ball. Joe Waltert from behind the Buffalo net, and they'll slow things down now, leaving it back over to Craig Point. Dan Dawson from the far corner. Now to the near side over to Walters. Walters working the ball, trying to get free from checking Chad Culp as Walters goes to the far side. Tipping it back over to Kehoe, now to Dawson. Dawson over to Walters, top of the slide is the powerless shot. That's blocked by a Buffalo defender, and the rebound is picked up by Cosmo and cleared back over to Steve Priolo. Here's Priolo with the shot wide. Rebound picked up by Buffalo. Left down into the corner is Tavares. Feeding it back out now. Over to Brian Benesh, now to Williams. Back over to Benesh with a shot. Shoulders saved. Vince at point-blank range, and the rebound picked up by the Knighthawks. And they'll work it down the right wing lane with Ian Lord bringing the Knighthawks back out at midfield. 2:30 left to play. Quarter number 2, 9-7 Knighthawks. The Bandits getting a big, big goal in quarter number 2, the second of the night, from Joel Matthews. There's a shot and a save by Cosmo. Rebound picked up by Buffalo. Down the left wing lane comes Mark Stainhouse. Trailing in is Mitch Wild to the left as Wild gets the feed. Tips it back over to Mitch Jones. Now to Stainhouse with a shot. He scores!
Oh, Stainer with a laser. Again, low stick side on Matt Vince. And Buffalo back within 1 once again. Nice play in transition there with Wild, Jones, and Stainhouse as Jones sees Stainhouse join the play, gets some room at the top of the zone, and lets one rip yet again as Buffalo trying to finish out this first half with a last run here to get things knotted up before they head back to the locker room.
Win the draw and control of the ball as they work it back out with Kevin Brunell setting up the play immediately down to the Nighthawk zone. 1:52 left to play, second quarter. 9-8 Rochester into the line as Joel Matthews. Far side passes that tipped over to Williams. Now to Ryan Benesh. Benesh twirling at the top of the slot as he's got a lane back over to the far side. Tipping it into traffic intended for Joey Resetaris. Self is there. That's stolen by Buffalo. The low drive with no time to shoot on the shot clock. Picked up by Vince, and he'll start it up out of his own zone. Second quarter action. 9-8 Rochester. Started out with a 4-0 lead in the early goings of this game before Buffalo got right back into it. And now they're clawing their way back, as Troy Cordingley said earlier today. That's just what they've got to do. Dane Smith with a shot, he scores!
Oh, the shootout continues here at the First Niagara Center as it's Dane Smith, now the latest player to find the back of the net tonight. He lets one go. It bounces off Matt Vince's equipment and into the back of that. We are all tied up once again, and it's Rochester 3 in a row, and Buffalo now has answered with 3 in a row of their own, and we're going to be right back where we started, all knotted up here with about a minute to go in the first half.
So great move by Dane Smith, his 20th of the season for the second-year pro. Tying things up at 9 with under a minute to play here in the first half. 31 shots on goal for Buffalo, 21 for the Knighthawks. Ball down into the Bandits zone. Priolo taking Kehoe off the play and down onto the turf. And the ball picked up by Dane Smith, and he starts it up for Buffalo with 45 seconds left. Here's Smith with a shot, digging in, taking it. Vince with a save, rebound to the right side of the Nighthawk netminder, and it's picked up by the Nighthawks, and they right back. High side, far side shot by Jamison. Save, Cosmo. Rebound picked up by Buffalo. And down the left wing lane comes Jay Thornburg.
They're going to try for the last shot here, John. There's about a second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. But a turnover, and Sid Smith scores on the empty net. Confusion there at the middle of the field. And now Dave Brock's got a Rochester player by the face mask. Sorry, John. I was trying to mention how they were going to get that last shot, and they blew it. Buffalo lost the ball there right at midfield. Sid Smith, Johnny on the spot, and he had an open net as Cosmo had gone to the bench to try and give Buffalo that extra attacker for that final shot of the half, and it backfires on him.
Good heads-up play by Sid Smith, the All-American out of Syracuse, and gives his team a one-goal lead with 19.7 seconds remaining of this first half. And the Bandits trying to regroup at their bench area and finish it out here with a run. And they were not expecting the big defenseman Sid Smith out at midfield to take that ball away and find an open net, and finding Twine. And the Nighthawks will control the ball from the draw. Self goes to the far side over to Dan Dawson with a shot. Cosmo comes up with a nice save of the rebound. Is Stainhouse with 4 to go, and Stainhouse will let the time run out. And the Bandits will go to the dressing room down 1 goal, 10-9. It's halftime here in Buffalo, and this is Bandits lacrosse.
Hi everybody, I'm Dave Walls. With the regular season winding up this week in Week 18, let's take a look at the standings and see where your favorite team is ending up. First in the NLL Eastern Division, Rochester claims first place with a record of 13-4, and they face the Buffalo Bandits later on tonight. The Bandits, meanwhile, are in the middle of an epic skid, and if they don't defeat Rochester tonight, they could leave themselves open to dropping to third place, as they're currently sitting at a tie with Toronto. Toronto, meanwhile, sits in that third place spot, and with a win tonight against Minnesota and Buffalo losing, Toronto could secure themselves a home playoff position. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the division, Philadelphia and Minnesota are both playing for pride. Philadelphia will wonder what could have been as they face Colorado tonight at the Wells Fargo Center. Minnesota, meanwhile, will look to rebound with another young squad next season as they battle the Toronto Rock at home at the Xcel Energy Center. Meanwhile, moving out to the NLL Western Division, Edmonton ran away with the division this year with their 16-2 record, winning last night over the Vancouver Stealth 10-5. They have the home field advantage throughout the NLL playoffs. Meanwhile, Calgary is comfortably sitting in second place with an 11-6 record, just 4.5 games back of Edmonton. They face Vancouver tonight out at the Langley Events Center. Colorado, meanwhile, has finally secured that third place position in the NLL Western Division. They will look, however, to defeat a wing squad that defeated them just a few weeks ago on their own home floor, 14-12. Finally, Vancouver caps off a disappointing season tonight at the Langley Events Center, losing first on Friday night to Edmonton 10-5, hosting the Calgary Roughnecks tonight. Vancouver will want to give their fans the first year in Vancouver a reason to come back for 2015. That does it for NLL Halftime. Thanks for watching. We'll get you back to your game in just a moment. This is the National Lacrosse League.
Quick stick, they score! A beauty. Crawford sends it across the finish from Josh.
Certainly they like this home crowd.
Good crowd tonight, the ACC, the Rocket. Oh, and being pushed aside, Priolo absolutely manhandling Kevin Ross.
He gets to it. Greer. Davis has the lane, walks in. Wade shoots, scores! Jared Davis on his off wing. Now here's the shot, they score! and it's Dixon with his 7th goal of the night right through Bold, and the Roughnecks win 14-13.
Ryan Bennett trying for a swim above the zone, gets by Edwards, and hugging that post, not tight enough though. Big throw slid over. I don't know where the ball found any room.
Shane Jackson tries a little give and go. Schuss works free from one, fires and scores! Logan Schuss. Ianucci gives it up. Westervelt with a clean shot, goes right to the goal and scores. Drew Westervelt cuts the lead in half. It's 4-3 Mini.
The top, well over the net. Rebound, Greer. Missed the net, shooting. What a save! Chiliano from his rear end. Rob Curtis Knight.
To the corner. Pollock in possession. Right up front. Grant behind the back. He scores.
Up top, Benesh. Flip pass to Maritz in front to Williams. He shoots and scores. The sneaky shot by Sean Williams beats Matt Vince over his left shoulder. It's 4-2.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stainhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Your Knighthawks are heading to the playoffs. The quest to make history begins on Saturday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come cheer on your Knighthawks as they look to bring home the Champions Cup. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com or by calling 585-454-HAWK. That's 585-454-4295. The Rochester Knighthawks. No limits lacrosse.
The Buffalo News joining us as he generally does. Tradition counts here with the Bandits broadcast coverage. We have Bud on at the beginning of the season, mid of the season, and as I told him right before the start of tonight's game, Bud, you've got to be on with us because it's the end of the regular season campaign. So it's good to have you with us here from the broadcast booth. And your thoughts, Bud, of tonight's very strange game.
John, how's your voice? Is it gone yet?
Wild.
19 goals in the first. This is like 1994 all over again.
Yeah.
When the Bandits would roll up 25 goals or something.
Last goal wins or something like that.
And I should add, that last goal, I've only been covering this league and team for 6 years. That was the only time I've ever seen anything like it, where the goalie leaves early to set up a 6-on-5. The ball's stolen at center field and Smith threw it in the empty net. That was ridiculous. I'm not throwing blame. I'm just saying it was a very silly play.
It was out of the ordinary, and to have Sid Smith at the right place at the right time, and I'm sure he thought independently as well, saying, "Oh my gosh, what do I do with this?" And this net obviously looks yawning, but it probably looked to him like one by one in order to try to get it in. Let's stop the boat and talk about the Bandits, a situation that seemed to have at least struck curiosity across the lacrosse world with respect to what's wrong with the Bandits and in your evaluation of this 7-game slide.
John, I think the schedule is the biggest part of it. I think the Bandits took advantage of the first half when they went 8-2. It was mostly against at home and mostly against a lot of the weaker teams in the league. Did beat Rochester in that stretch, but they really took advantage of what they had to do. It was like, okay, the second half we knew was going to be mostly road games, and we knew the quality of opponents was going to go up, and they'd suffer. Now, do you think 7 in a row? You never think 7 in a row. Nobody should lose 7 in a row, but here we are at 8-9. I think the Bandits just got on a roll and lost a little confidence along the way, and you find yourself 8-9. But you know, how many games would have, you know, you could see them winning 1 or 2 of them, but you know, a lot of them they've certainly been outplayed, and that's, I guess, to be expected. Maybe the first part was a bit of a mirage, but you know, they made the playoffs, and I thought that might help them relax, but obviously it hasn't made that much of a difference these last few weeks. Now it's just a matter of seeing if they can wrap up second place in the division tonight.
We're at halftime here at First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo, with the Knighthawks leading the Bandits by 1, 10-9. But what do you think so far of the performance of the team tonight? Do you see anything that's gelling together that they could overcome this?
This is practically a different sport than last week when Rochester and Buffalo played that chess match 8-4, and the Bandits only had 1 even strength goal. I was very surprised the Bandits came out flat, and Rochester was just all over them and had that 4-0 lead, and yet later on I looked up and the shots were, I think, 21-11 Buffalo. The Bandits certainly didn't give up, and they're not out of the game now, but it's been a lot looser than I thought. It's, as I said, old-time lacrosse here with the last shot of the game win sort of thing. Joel Matthews has been a nice little surprise here these last 2 games. He hasn't played at all. He's on the practice squad. He gets thrown in last week and does some good things. And tonight he's got 2 goals and has played pretty well and made an impact out there. So that's one thing. Anthony Cosmo, I think, would like some shots back tonight.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But on the other hand, he hasn't had much help. A few times there have been Rochester guys open in front. So it's a team game, and there have been mistakes by the goalie and the defense. But again, 10-9, you know, against Rochester, you might think the game would be over if we give up 10 first half goals, but the Bandits have hung in there so far.
We're at halftime. Bud Bailey of the Buffalo News joining us. The Knighthawks with a 10-9 lead, fresh out from the Christmas drive. Bud Bailey's third book, is that correct? Third book, which is today in Buffalo sports history, 366 days of milestones. And to pick up the pieces not only with what's happening in the National Hockey League, the National Lacrosse League, but Major League Baseball. So many great things here in Buffalo. And we're going through a nice transition right at the moment with the Sabres being finished, the Bandits into the playoffs, the Bison starting it up, and all the concentration on sports, and you have to follow it with the milestones.
One of the things that struck me, John, since the book came out before the start of the season, it's funny because when big events happen in Buffalo sports now, I feel like saying, you know, can I go around and write these events into everybody's copy of the books so they'll be up to date? You got to stop when you print it. But obviously when Pat LaFontaine left or when Ryan Miller left, those are huge stories, and the book is out. But so far, I've only heard about one little mistake that was in the book, and the reaction has been good, and hopefully it'll find a place on bookshelves for years to come. You know, the events are the events. It still doesn't go out of date, and
but it's timeless, Bud. I mean,
exactly.
Fans love to read it, and they love to go back and remember this particular moments that you have recreated in the small snippets that you provide. And it's from a standpoint of saying it could remain on anybody's desk, on anybody's coffee table at any particular time, because it always strikes a conversation. Do you remember when?
Yeah, and like, for example, when Ralph Wilson passed away, there was a lot of talk about when Ralph bought the team, which was in late October of 1959, and that's still available as a reference source or whatever fact might come up. So hopefully it's found a place in a lot of people's bookshelves, and they'll refer to it in the years to come, but the reaction's been very nice, and I appreciate that.
How do we get people in purchasing the books, and where is it available, and can they purchase it online?
Yes, I believe BuffaloBooks.com has it, and they can go to most of the local bookstores that are of any size, the usual suspects, and it's still on sale in the local section.
Waiting for you now today in Buffalo sports history, 366 days of milestones. Now, let's go back to the action down on the turf and talk about the Buffalo Bandits, but more importantly, the second season, the NLL playoffs, which in our review this morning, Bud, of the shoot-around, we looked at the month of May, and there is going to be a playoff game every weekend.
Right. The Bandits in Toronto will play somewhere in a week. I'm looking at the computer now, and Toronto leads Minnesota 4-2, so the Bandits may have to do it on their own. The winner of that game next week plays Rochester in that best of two, as I like to call it. First game would be in either Buffalo or Toronto. The next week would be in a Saturday night in Rochester, and if a third game is needed, to be a 10-minute mini game after that. And then the finals would be Memorial Day weekend and the week after with the East versus West. So we'll have 5 weeks of playoffs. I wasn't sure if they're going to go back-to-back in the middle of that, but apparently that's not part of the plan.
What do you think of the playoff alignment this year?
I like having 6 teams as opposed to 8 in the playoffs. I think it's been just as competitive, but I think it makes the regular season a little more interesting. And a team like Rochester, which struggled through the regular season, maybe if things don't break last year, they don't even get into playoffs. And this year you have to earn it a little more. But still, it's been a funny year in the East because Buffalo and Toronto could wind up tied at 2 games under 500, 8-10, and still make it in. It hasn't been a great year for the East, of course, but there's no legislating that, and it's it looks like Rochester and Edmonton are the class of the respective divisions, but the best of 1 or best of 3, that's not much time for the better team to show up.
Last goal wins in tonight's game, Bud?
That's kind of like Oklahoma, Nebraska in the old days, with Keith Jackson describing the action. Just who's ever got the ball at the end, and with less than 2 minutes to go, is going to win it. It's fun to see these games.
Bud Bailey of the Buffalo News, great thanks.
My pleasure, John.
10-9 halftime. The Knighthawks over the Bandits. We'll be back with quarter number 3 after this timeout. This is Bandits Lacrosse. Individual performances in the first half by the Bandits.
Joel Matthews, his first 2 career goals in the National Lacrosse League. Joe Resiteris, 2 goals, 1 assist. Mark Stainhouse, 2 and 2 goals, 2 assists. John Tavares, a goal and 2 assists. Excuse me. Ryan Benesh leads all Bandits, 5 points, all of those assists. Mitch Jones, 1 assist. Rory Smith, an assist. Sean Williams, a goal and 2 assists. Mitch Wild, an assist. And Dane Smith, 1 goal. Anthony Cosmo, 15 saves on 24 shots. Curtis Wagar did come in, play 5 minutes during the first quarter. And Jay Thornburg, 10 of 11, or 11 of 21, excuse me, in the faceoff circle for 52%.
All right, let's see what happens here in quarter number 3 of this wild game. The Knighthawks with a 10-9 lead. A strange goal being scored right at near the end of the first half was Sid Smith finding an open net from midfield, taking the ball away as Anthony Cosmo was trying to escape his perch and over to the Bandits bench to give the extra attacker, but that misfired, and the Knighthawks hold the 1-goal lead. The Bandits and Knighthawks underway for the second half of play with the Knighthawks down in the Bandit zone. Stephen Kehoe having quite a night Goes to the far side of it. Cody Jamieson with a shot. Save. Cosmo rebound swept by Mitch Wild and picked up by Rory Smith. Down the right wing lane comes Derek Suddens. Here's Suddens in over the line, taking the shot high. Rebound picked up by the Knighthawks, and right back down to midfield we come. Opening things up here in the second half of play. Scott Self with it, with the ball down the left wing lane. Waves it back over to Dan Dawson, working it just from the left point inside the Buffalo zone, being swatted by. Likes to go over to Craig Point, tipping it down to the corner over to Walters. Here's Walters with a shot save. Cosmo rebound with confidence, and the outlet pass down the right wing lane as it's picked up in over the line to Mitch Jones. Jones with the ball from the right point, allows the forwards to come out of the turf and get back into position. Down by 1, 10-9. Jones with the ball, top of the slot, slips it back over to Joey Resetaris. Resetaris to Banesh. Banesh with 7 to shoot. Far side pass as it's picked up and mishandled by Dave Brock, and the rebound controlled by Rochester. Brad Self brings it down the left wing lane. 32 shots on goal for Buffalo, 27 for the Knighthawks. They've got the 10-9 lead in the early goings of this third quarter. Cody Jamieson near side pass over to Stephen Kehoe, tipping it back over to Craig Point. Now back to Kehoe. Kehoe with 5 to shoot, goes wide. Rebound jumps out into the fray, and it's picked up by Buffalo. And Dane Smith will get it back over to Mitch Wild. Misplays the ball, and picked up by the Knighthawks and worked back down the left wing lane over to Dylan Evans. 10-9 Rochester. Buffalo had a 9-9 lead with seconds to go in the first half, but a miscue as Anthony Cosmo left his perch and left a wide open net, and Sid Smith found it to give the Knighthawks the 1-goal lead going in at halftime. Down in the corner is Dan Dawson, working it now from the left point, scooting in, one-handed, low drive wide with 3 to shoot, rebound. Swatted by Corey Vittorella, and he's tackled down to the turf. A good play by Derek Suddens, and Buffalo starts it up.
John, obviously the next goal huge here. Buffalo can tie it back up and not be hurt by that fluky goal at the end of the half, while Rochester would like another 2-goal lead here and try and control play once again.
Ryan Banesh leaving it back out in front to Stainhouse. He's tackled down onto the turf.
Stainhouse better be careful here, not take a penalty. And he walks away from it. He had a few words for Paul Dawson there, haul him to the turf, but it'll just be Dawson going to the box. Also, his teammates were there helping to keep Stainhouse keep his cool so he didn't take another penalty. And Buffalo goes back on the power play, already 3 for 4 on the night. That's what helped keep them in this game in the first quarter, was a back-to-back power play goals. Kept them in this game and ended that initial streak by the Knighthawks that got him out to an early 4-0 lead.
John Tavares will quarterback the power play from the top of the slot. Stainhouse is to the far side. Banesh is to the near side. Down to the corner is Williams, who now sneaks out into traffic. Here's Banesh taking a floating shot wide of the Rochester net. He is just not on tonight. His shot's so wide from the net. However, pretty much a good playmaker tonight with his 5 assists coming into the second half.
That one might have got deflected, but that was definitely off course.
Craig Point with it shorthanded as Dan Dawson leads the penalty kill out at midfield. This is third quarter action where the Knighthawks have a 10-9 lead over the Bandits. In over the line is Cody Jamieson. Good feed pass intended for Dawson, but couldn't make the connection. Control for the ball, picked up by the Bandits, and it's started up by Mitch Wild, who brings Buffalo back out to midfield. Quick change for Buffalo as John Tavares runs out, along with Ryan Banesh. Combined together to stage the play to Joey Resetaris. Back over to Mark Stainhouse, now to Tavares. Tavares to Stainhouse. Back to Tavares, he's got a lane. Here's Tavares, back over to Banesh. Scores! There it is.
John Tavares finds Ryan Banesh on the doorstep of Matty Vince, who after a couple of takes at it, lets one go, and it goes past Matt Vincent. We're all tied up once again, 10-10 now, as Banesh has his 6th point of the night, a goal and 5 assists for number 17 on the Buffalo Bandits. As I thought Tavares might shoot that one, but he saw Banesh there standing right on the crease. Banesh a little pivot, couple of looks, and he's able to put it past Matty Vince.
Down once in the game, 4-0. Buffalo has battled back, and it's tied at 10 as Stainhouse works it back over to Tavares. Couldn't hang on to it in the webbing of his stick, and it's picked up by the Knighthawks. And it's worked right the line by John Sullivan, who will find an open Dylan Evans down the left wing lane as he approaches the Buffalo line. Mike Hazen changing things up on the quickly as Cody Jamieson leaves it to the far corner over to Joe Walters. Here's Walters now back over to the point to Dan Dawson. Dawson with his large frame moving in the slot area. 10 to shoot for the Knighthawks. Long drive by Walters, goes wide. Rebound picked up by Buffalo, and it's cleared back out by Cosmo. And Dane Smith is there and starts it up for the Bandits. Tied at 10, 34-28 shots Buffalo. In over the line is Sean Williams as he works it back over to Ryan Banesh. Banesh into traffic, but a good connection to Joey Resetaris, who finds an open Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse trying to narrow the margin to Matt Vince. Working it with 5 to shoot. Here's Williams. Over to Banesh, 1 to shoot. Banesh with a long drive that goes wide. And the rebound is cleared back out at midfield and stops the clock with 9 minutes and 56 seconds left to play. Quarter number 3, tied at 10. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Pretty cool guy. He had a
just in.
Rey Mysterio mask. Oh, and Rochester gets one. As Johnny Paulus there on the doorstep, Anthony Cosmo goes low stick side, and Rochester reclaims the lead.
They strike at any time, and a player like Johnny Paulus, who scored 3 last week, just in the right position at the right time, and how they get open in front, point-blank range of Anthony Cosmo is a mystery to me.
We get seen that a couple of times tonight now, John, where Rochester players are able to sneak behind the Bandit defenders.
Here comes Buffalo right back from the face-off. Shot by Thornburg. Saved Vince. Rebound picked up by the Knighthawks. Good checking by Mark Stainhouse. And Thornburg is in there. Stainhouse has got the ball. And it's taken away by Scott Self. And hang on. Self can't do that according to the on-field officials, Mark Grenier.
The ball flipped up, hit the netting. And Buffalo remains possession as Rochester is the last to touch it.
Stainhouse with it now, goes over to Ryan Banesh. He's got a lane open. Banesh floats it out in front. Nobody there except a couple of Knighthawks. Banesh gets his own rebound. Again, flips it off the webbing of his stick, and it's picked up by the Knighthawks, and down the left wing lane comes Scott Self, 14-year vet. He'll shut it down and leave it over to his brother, Brad, who will eye up the situation while the Knighthawks change on the fly. Stephen Kehoe in over the line, trying to deke away from Buffalo's defense. And Rory Smith. Dan Dawson's got it, floats it far side, long drive. Saved by Cosmo, stretching for it. Now he's finally got it, and the 14-year vet finds an open Mitch Jones, who brings Buffalo out at mid-turf. 11-10 Knighthawks. Third quarter action with 8:27 remaining. Win for Buffalo, snaps a 7-game streak, and also gives them the home playoff game a week from tonight against Toronto. Played off the near boards as Tavares does the same to the far boards as Buffalo restages with 10 to shoot well outside the Rochester line. Now Stainhouse comes in for the left point. He's got a lane open. Stainhouse with a shot blocked into traffic. Rebound picked up by Dylan Evans. He'll be hampered by John Tavares. And hopefully they'll get it out for 8 seconds, which they do. And crossing the line is Evans. Keeps the play going for the Knighthawks in the 1-goal lead, 11-10.
Buffalo not getting any help on the scoreboard either as Toronto leads Minnesota 4-2 at halftime. So a Toronto win and a Buffalo loss, and we're headed to the ACC next Saturday.
Joe Walters with the ball outside the line, settling the troops down with plenty of time to shoot. Dawson has it from the left point, floating it back out in front. Right point for that shot, save Cosmo. Walters gets the rebound from the corner. It's Kehoe back over to Walters. Knighthawks leave it 11-10 here in the third quarter, 7:21 remaining. Coming in from the right point is Cody Jamieson. Looking, Jamieson trying to float it out in front to Dawson, no connection. Cosmo is there, and he'll outlet the ball out to midfield over to Dane Smith. Starts it up for the Bandits. Smith, a part of the rush now from the far side. In over the line he goes. Back over to Joel Matthews, now over to Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse with the ball, top of the slot as it goes over to Ryan Benesh. Here's Benesh, back over to the far side to Stainhouse. Working it in close with 10 to shoot is Stainhouse. Dekes in front, takes the shot. Vince got a piece of that one. Resetting the shot clock, letting the ball down into the corner. And it'll be picked up by the Knighthawks. Ball inside the crease area, so the Knighthawks with ease out at midfield. And over the line come the Knighthawks, working with Johnny Pallas over to Cody Jamieson, deep into the corner. As Jamieson comes across the line, he's got Dawson with him at left. Jamieson hangs on out in front. Pallas with a shot, he scores! Again, the Knighthawks finding a way to thread the needle in front of the Buffalo bench and the Buffalo net and not be hampered.
Yeah, Johnny Pallas cutting into the right in front of the crease in front of Anthony Cosmo. And Cody Jamieson saw him get by Kevin Brownell. A little confusion in front of the net for the Buffalo defenders. And Pallas is left all alone as Brownell tried to cover Craig Point. And Rochester's exploited that all night long.
Yes, they have.
Getting confusion and getting those teal jerseys behind those white jerseys in the offensive zone.
12-10 Knighthawks here in the third quarter of play from the draw controlled by Buffalo. They've got the ball in over the line is Ryan Benesh. He'll work it to the far side over to Joey Resetaris looking for three. Finding an opening, Mark Stainhouse. Now tipping it back over to Sean Williams. Good ball movement by the Bandits. Misconnection forces Stainhouse from the far corner. Scoots out. Here's Stainhouse hanging onto the ball. Triple teamed on the play. Stainhouse with a shot that hit the back of one of the Rochester defenders, and the rebound goes back out to the line where it is the Knighthawks ball. They lead it by 2, 12-10. This has been a seesaw battle back and forth after the Knighthawks took a 4-0 lead with 4 minutes and 36 seconds gone of this game. And as Dave Buchanan has mentioned, 3-goal runs here, 3-goal runs there. And right now, the Knighthawks
for the Knighthawks right now
with the run as Dan Dawson looks to make it 3. Shots saved. Cosmo rebound, jumps back out. Derek Sutton swipes at it. Loose ball at midfield. Here comes Buffalo. Steve Priolo. Priolo with the ball. Tips it back over to Mitch Jones. Jones backs up and slows things down, gets everybody into position. Plenty of time to shoot. There's a feed pass out in front. No connection made to Joel Matthews. One of the Bandits goes down.
Legal pick. Buffalo regain possession here.
Priolo a little slow in getting up. He has a chat with Scott Self, former teammates together.
Priolo's been chatting up with everybody tonight. Even when they were going off for the half, they were yapping before they could get off the floor. As Matt Vince being attended to by the Rochester equipment manager to help his team get the right players on the floor as Buffalo will take over possession with 5:09 to go in the third quarter.
Sean Williams having a little pushing and shove match over there with Paul Dawson, and now Dawson with his 6'5", 245-pound frame.
He's trying to get right in the middle of the Bandits team huddle there.
Putting pressure on John Tavares. Now Williams in over the line as he goes, tips it over to Ryan Benesh, and the Bandits started up from the top of the slot as Joel Matthews tips it over to Benesh. Far side pass over to running Joey Resetaris. Resetaris now over to Williams. Williams, there's a low drive by Matthews wide. Rebound jumps all the way back down to the Buffalo zone. Scott Self looked to get it, but it stops things with 4:48 left to play. Quarter number 3, Rochester by 2, 12-10. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stainhouse loses check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Your Knighthawks are heading to the playoffs. The quest to make history begins on Saturday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come cheer on your Knighthawks as they look to bring home the Champions Cup. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com or by calling 585-454-HAWK. That's 585-454-4295. The Rochester Knighthawks. No limits lacrosse. Your
Johnny Powell has the last 2 goals in this game, and that's why Rochester has a 12-10 lead right now. Powell is 2 on the night already, along with teammate Craig Point, while Stephen Keogh has a hat trick for Rochester.
They've got the ball down on the turf approaching the Buffalo line. Craig Point outside the line, elects to go to the far side of it to Cody Jamieson. Now Jamieson with the ball, taking a twirl back over to Dan Dawson. Dawson back to Jamieson from the slot area. In pursuit of Steve Priolo. There's Jamieson with a shot that goes wide. Rebound jumps all the way back out to midfield, over and back charge, and Buffalo wasting little time with David Brock into the line. Brock with a play that was busted up by Rochester, and the ball left down into the Nighthawks zone. It'll be the Hawks ball, and they'll work it out of their own zone. Down the left wing lane comes Stephen Kehoe. In over the line he goes with a full head of steam, met head to head by a Buffalo defender. And the ball goes to the far side. Chad Culp in good position for Buffalo. Left wing pass over to Kehoe, down in the corner to Dan Dawson. Floats it into the traffic area intended for Vitarelli. He's backed up by Walters. Now Walters from the far Buffalo corner. Time ticking down on the shot clock with 3 to go. Here's Walters with a shot. Save Cosmo to the left side of the Buffalo net. And here come the Bandits. With 3 minutes and 52 seconds left to play into the third quarter. Down by 2, 12-10. Big rush for Buffalo here as Jones brings him in over the line over to Tavares. Tavares works it down from the corner back over to the top slot over to Sean Williams. Williams back over to Tavares. He works it into traffic area, hangs on, goes to the far side of the rest of Terrace. Backed up now, sweeping ball, shots. Vince got a piece of that one. And the Nighthawks get it out of their own zone. Leading it by 2, 12-10 here in the third quarter. Craig Point with the ball, in over the line as he goes. Floats it back over to Dan Dawson. Dawson from the corner, curling back from the point area. Back to Point with a shot over the shoulder. Shot saved by Cosmo. Outlet, Steve Priolo. He's got Dane Smith with him, in over the line. Here's Priolo with the ball from the top of the slot. Retreats back outside the line as Buffalo completes the change. In over is Ryan Benesh. Here's Benesh, tipping it back over to Smith. Smith with a shot by Sturz. He scores!
Mark Steenhouse finds the back of the net once again here this evening as the Bandits running around all over the zone, and eventually Steenhouse winds up with the ball, gets an open lane and fires one off the equipment of Matt Vince as Benesh over to Dane Smith, who sees Steenhouse waiting all by his lonesome, and that one finds its way between the legs of Matt Vince as Steenhouse nets his 3rd of the night, a hat trick for number 9.
Buffalo within 1 and a much needed rush here in the closing moments of quarter number 3. Down at one time in this game, 4-0. Nighthawks with the ball, in over the line. Here's Evans with a shot that goes well wide, played off on the far board, stretching for it as Rory Smith tips it over the glass and into the crowd. So it'll be Buffalo's ball. Cosmo outlets it down over to Mitch Jones. Jones approaching the Rochester line. Sets up the play accordingly as Benesh takes the shot. Vince making the save. Rebound. Buffalo resetting the shot clock. Joey Resetaris is there. Tipping it back over to Steenhouse. Now back over to Benesh. Benesh has got Williams with him as they work together to get it back to the top of the slot. Tipping it over to Matthews, now back to Williams. Now to Matthews, into traffic, over the shoulder feed by Benesh. It's stopped by Rochester's defense. Good move by John Sullivan, and he clears it down the left wing lane over to Scott Campbell. 12-11 Knighthawks with 1:50 left to play here in this third quarter. Kehoe with the ball in over the line, checked by Culp. Jarring the ball into the corner, back over to Jamieson, now to Kehoe to Craig Point. Point from the left point, scoots in, tries to get away from Derek Suddens. There's Point with a shot with 5 to shoot. Saved by Cosmo, and the rebound cleared back down the right wing lane over to Dane Smith. Smith starts it up, good feed pass out in front. Try to make the connection to Mark Stainhouse, but overruns the ball, and the Knighthawks come back up with it. 1:20 left to play, third quarter.
A couple of times tonight they've tried to rush that play in transition instead of settle it down and set up a play with the full offensive unit. Works sometimes, but a couple of times tonight now it's backfired, and they've handed the ball right back to Rochester.
And over the line is Dan Dawson coming in close, takes the shot. Cosmo with the save out of his crease area from behind the net. And with under a minute to play here in the third quarter, here come the Bandits working with Dane Smith. Smith in over the line with Mitch Jones. Jones with the ball from the slot area, hanging on to it, forced back over to the right point, floats it back out to midfield, scooped up by Sean Williams. Elects to go to the far side over to Dane Smith. Here's Smith now, working the ball, trying to get away from a couple of Rochester defenders. Works it back outside the line to the near side over to John Tavares. Tavares with 4 to shoot. Tavares with a shot, goes wide. And the rebound jumps back from the end boards over to Matt Vince. And with 29.7 seconds remaining, here come the Knighthawks, leading it by 1, 12-11. Ball down into the near corner by Craig Point as he works it back outside the line over to Dan Dawson, who floats it over to Cody Jamieson. Tipping it back over to Johnny Palace, that is, to Jamieson. There's a shot by Point. Right, stopped by Cosmo. Check that, Kehoe making the shot. The outlet pass all the way down to the left side of the Rochester net. Stainhouse and Matt Vince get tied up together, and there was almost a mistake just like Buffalo made at the half.
Yeah, there was about 6 seconds left on the clock there, and Vince had pulled and ran back to the net. Stainhouse tried to catch the ball off the glass and look for an empty net shot, but little meeting of the minds there between Vince and Stainhouse.
Third quarter is history. The Knighthawks by 1, 12-11. Don't go anywhere. Quarter number 4 up after this. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Buffalo getting on the board first, tying the game at 10 with a goal from Ryan Bennett. Then back-to-back goals from Johnny Paulus gave Rochester a 2-goal lead once again before Mark Stainhouse cut the lead back within 1 for his third of the night. 12-11 here as we begin quarter number 4. Stainhouse 3 goals, 3 assists. Ryan Benesh a goal and 6 assists, leading the Bandits for Rochester. Leading the way, Stephen Kehoe with a hat trick and a goal. Cody Jamieson a goal and 6 assists as he now has 105 points on the season, trying to clinch the league scoring title. But he's got to worry about Sean Evans, who plays tonight for Calgary, who also had 98 points at the start of the night.
Here comes Buffalo immediately down into the Rochester zone, attacking to our broadcast left. Shot over the crossbar. The rebound into the far corner. Picked up by the Bandits. There's Dane Smith with the ball out of his webbing of his stick. He retains it and then left it into traffic area. Good pressure on by Buffalo, but the Knighthawks come up with the ball. This is the early goings of the fourth quarter. The Knighthawks with a 12-11 lead. Bandits looking to snap a 7-game losing streak. They want to win in order to get the home playoff game next week against Toronto. Jamison with the ball from the slot area, looking over to Dan Dawson. Now to Pellis with a shot that goes wide. Rebound jumps out in front. Ball controlled by the Knighthawks. Good low drive. And there's a low shot onto Steve Priola. Took a hit from below the belt, and play stops with just 59 seconds left, or it's 59 seconds played here in the fourth quarter. We're going to have a penalty.
Yeah, Craig Point gave Steve Priola a shot as he ran off the floor. Priola went down and draws the penalty here. Slashing call on Point. Buffalo will go back on the power play as they are 4 for 5 now with the man advantage tonight. And looking for a tying goal yet again.
Quarterbacking the power play will be John Tavares. From the far side is Ryan Badash. To the near side is Mark Stainhouse. Down in the corner is Sean Williams and Joey Reseteris, who has the ball now. Back over to Tavares. Back to Reseteris. Floating it back over to Stainhouse. Now to Tavares. There's a shot into traffic by Sean Williams, but it's stopped by Matt Vince and a host of Nighthawk defenders, and they'll clear it out shorthanded to midfield. 12-11 Nighthawks here in the fourth quarter of play. The Bandits on the power play for the next minute and 27 seconds. Kehoe taking precious time off that one. Dan Dawson well outside the line from his bench area. Flips it now to the near side over to Cody Jamison. Jamison eyeing up the situation. Lead pass out in front to Dawson with a shot. He scores shorthanded.
Oh, that's a huge goal for Rochester as Dawson with one or two Bandit defenders riding him the way, gets the ball going to the crease and bounces one 5-hole on Cosmo, just as Buffalo was looking to tie the game as he had Brownell all over him going to the net, but Dawson, the wily veteran, able to put it through the legs of Anthony Cosmo, and it's a 2-goal lead one more time for the Nighthawks. That could be a game-changing goal right there.
A collective hush over the crowd here at First Niagara Center.
Luckily, there's still 13 minutes to go here in this final quarter.
Plenty of time, and a minute 5 left in the call to Craig Point. It's 13-11 Rochester, but the Bandits work with a man advantage. Deep down in the corner is Sean Williams. Ryan Banesh over to John Tavares. Now to Mark Stainhouse. Back over to Tavares. Tavares to Banesh with a shot. Save, Vince. Rebound all the way back out to midfield. Save the over and back charge, which there will be none as Vince let it go off his shoulder. Tavares starts it back up into the corner, back to the top of the slot to Tavares, near side over to Stainhouse. Tipping it back over to Joey Reseteris, back to Tavares. Tavares to Banesh, to Stainhouse with a shot. That's blocked into traffic, and it's picked up by Scott Self, and the veteran will run it back out to midfield and approach the Buffalo line shorthanded. Back over to Dan Dawson. Now to Kehoe with a shot. He scores.
Mike Kirk.
Kirk, that is.
Mike Kirk gets the second shorthanded goal on this Craig Point penalty, and it's back to a 3-goal lead as John Tavares playing solo on the defense there. An odd number rush for Rochester with the man down, and Dawson finds Kirk joining the play, and it's a 3-goal lead for Rochester once again.
24 seconds left in the penalty to Craig Point, as Mike Kirk finding his second goal of the year on shorthanded. Here comes another opportunity for the Nighthawks.
That was almost...
Dan Dawson just hit hard down to the left side of the Buffalo net, and he's slow in getting up, as is Jay Thornburg.
And I think Thornburg's going to get a penalty for assisting Mr. Dawson into the boards. And yeah, he is being escorted to the penalty box. Sid Smith not happy with how that played out, as it'll be Thornburg going to the box for cross-checking. Luckily, that's only, or illegal cross-check. Luckily, it's only a 2-minute penalty. So we'll play 4 aside for 12 seconds, and then Rochester will go on the power play. Luckily for the Bandits, they haven't spent too much time with the extra man, but they are 1 for 1 on the night. Way back in the first quarter, their second goal of the game, Cody Jamison.
We'll let the time go up on Craig Point's call, and then stage it up with the man advantage, and Jamison just doing that as Vince puts himself back into position from the bench, and Point will join the attack as Jamison now works it from the top of the slot to Dan Dawson. Now to Johnny Paulus, back to Dawson. Over the shoulder feed. There's a shot on. Cosmo making the save and the rebound, making the outlet pass. Sort of a Steve Priolo shorthanded. 3 shorthanded goals. There's a shot by Buffalo that goes wide. Priolo, good staging play. Lost control of the ball, but it's picked up by Self. He tackles him down to the turf, and Priolo comes back up with the ball. Or Check comes back up with Self, and another penalty coming up against the Bandits. There's a shot by Jamison off the side of Cosmo. Rebound, Jamison getting his own ball in pursuit is Rory Smith. Jamison, score.
Cody,
that's a mess.
Yeah, that Buffalo had their runner out, their heads cut off there, and Jamison's left alone on Cosmo's doorstep to bury the easy one on the give and go there. And it's a 4-goal lead now as Johnny Paulus finds Jamison left all alone as Rory Smith watching the shooter, and Cosmo flips the ball to the net angrily. That was going to be a 2-man advantage for Rochester as Priolo took a not too bright holding call there. Well, that was obviously waved off with the Jamison goal. So the only good thing is Buffalo will avoid being down 2 men here with 11:17 to go in the fourth quarter. It's now a 4-goal Rochester lead. And just when you thought Buffalo is going to get back in this game, Rochester turns everything on its ear and strings together 3 goals here in the fourth quarter.
Boy, things have settled down here dramatically at First Niagara Center. Steve Priolo goes to the penalty box. He'll get the 2.
Assist number 93, Johnny Paulus. Jamison for Paulus. It's a power play goal at 3:43. Buffalo Bandit penalty to number 23, Steve Priolo. 2 minutes for tripping.
Tripping call for Steve Priolo here in the fourth quarter of play. 15-11 Knighthawks. They're on a roll here. Buffalo trying to get back into the game as Dane Smith lets the ball into traffic. Nobody there except the Knighthawks. They sweep it back out. Dane Smith trying to get it away. As Campbell hangs on to Smith, who goes down onto the ground, whacks at it. Resetares comes up with it, but the play is stopped.
Shot clock violation.
10 minutes and 40 seconds left to play here in this fourth quarter. The Knighthawks have controlled this game. 15-11.
Right now, Troy Corley's got to settle his team down. They're not out of it. We've already seen 3 4-goal runs tonight between these two teams. They need not to panic right now and start making some stupid plays and just try and work their way back into this game.
Rochester on the 3-goal run here in the fourth frame. Top of the slot is Dan Dawson floating it back over to Paulus with a shot wide. Rebound. Boy took a whack at it, and that's left into the corner as the 30-second shot clock expired. And Derek Sutton starts it up for the Bandits. We played 5 minutes of this fourth quarter, and the Bandits in over the line comes Mark Stainhouse. Sutton's remains a part of the rush down into the Nighthawk zone, and then he runs over to the bench, and the remainder of the Buffalo forwards coming back out down into the Nighthawk zone with 10 to shoot. Stainhouse trying to get away from the left point area to get a shot away. Let's go to the far side over to Ryan Benesh. 3 to shoot for Buffalo. They couldn't get a shot away, so swipe that one out, and here come the Nighthawks. 9:38 left to play. Fourth quarter. Nighthawks 15, Bandits 11. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Stainhouse loses a check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Your Knighthawks are heading to the playoffs. The quest to make history begins on Saturday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come cheer on your Knighthawks as they look to bring home the Champions Cup. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com or by calling 585-454-HAWK. That's 585-454-4295. The Rochester Knighthawks. No limits lacrosse. Your Knighthawks are...
next week's opening round will be a one-game series, and then the division final and the league championship will be a best-of-2 series.
Knighthawks tuning it up tonight with a 15-11 lead over the Bandits here in Buffalo, with the ball handled by Corey Vitarelli, floating it to the top of the slot. Buffalo working himself back to full strength. Steve Priolo joins the crew down into the Bandit zone. Shot wide, rebound picked up by the Knighthawks. From the traffic area, the Bandits are there. Forcing the ball from the floor is David Brock, and he'll work it back out to midfield. 15-11 Knighthawks with 8 minutes and 54 seconds left to play here in the fourth quarter. Bandits changing up on the fly. Caught flat-footed here in the third and fourth quarter, allowing the Knighthawks to score 2 shorthanded goals. Joey Resetaris with the ball. Into the traffic. Tavares with a shot stopped by Vince. Caught him by surprise. Rebound Buffalo. Shot clock reset. Joel Matthews working it outside the line over to Tavares. Now to Sean Williams. Williams putting it out in front. Tried to make the connection to Tavares, but it's intercepted by Vince, and he'll clear it back out with an outlet pass down the right wing lane over to Scott Campbell. Joe Walters, who opened the scoring of tonight's game, in over the line from the right point. Got some time to move from the slot area. Goes to the far side. Point with a shot save. Cosmo rebound Buffalo. Ball picked up by Jay Thornburg. Nice pass over to Steve Priolo. Priolo tipping it back over in line. There's a shot on. That off the shot of Mitch Jones. Rebound picked up by Sid Smith. He'll shovel it with a move back out to midfield. And big Paul Dawson is there, who will shut it down from midfield and wait for Rochester to change up on the fly. Fourth quarter action, 7:45 remaining, 15-11 Knighthawks. Knighthawks jumped out to a 4-0 lead with 4 minutes and 36 seconds gone in the game before Buffalo got into the game. Here comes Knighthawks again. Johnny Palace saved by Cosmo. Rebound started up by Dane Smith. Working it down the left wing lane, in over the line, turns on the speed. Here's Smith with a shot, Vince with a save. And the rebound picked up by the 3-time goaltender of the year, clearing it back over to Mike Kirk. I'll tell you, Dave, Mike Kirk's goal hurt.
Yeah, that was a knife possibly in the heart of the Bandits, the way so far things are playing out.
Chad Cope with the ball.
Thought maybe the Sid Smith goal might do that, but it's those back-to-back shorties by Rochester.
Cope couldn't get the throttle on the shot. The Knighthawks come back up with the ball. Paul Dawson dabbling with it by himself. Scott now takes the shot. Hit by Priolo down onto the turf, and Priolo takes the ball away from Dawson. Getting the ball down the left wing lane. As Steve Priolo still having a yap with Paul Dawson as the two big defensemen go back over to the respective benches. 6:40 remaining, fourth quarter. The Knighthawks with a 15-11 lead. Mitch Wild with the ball just outside the line to the near side over to Joey Resetaris. Resetaris with a high drive. That goes over the glass and into the crowd. So it'll be Knighthawks ball. The ebb and flow of this game, a strange one. Resembling the early days of the National Lacrosse League with the scoring that was going on in the first half of play. Knighthawks led it 10-9, and they have come on strong here in the second half and leading it 15-11 as Cody Jamieson sets up the play. Score! Knighthawks again allowing a player like Craig Point to get open from the far side.
And for the third time tonight, the Bandits find themselves down by 4 or more goals as it goes to 16-11 as Point again behind a Buffalo defender. One hops it over the shoulder of Anthony Cosmo. And it's now the largest lead of the night for the Knighthawks at 5. And, well, they might be preparing the Air Canada Center for another playoff game that does not include the Maple Leafs. I got to get at least a shot at the Leafs in the way this is going.
Yeah, I got to lay something out on the line there, particularly for our listeners across the way in Southern Ontario. 16-11 Knighthawks. Go ahead.
And yes, we know there's no Sabres playoff games this year either, so touche.
Near boards down in the Bandits zone. Try to start it up here, and a lot of work to do with 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining of this fourth quarter. Stainhouse in over the line as he goes. Tries to narrow the margin on to Matt Vince, who remains in attention between the pipes. There's Joe Matthews with a shot, and Vince comes up with a scissor save. And the ball dug out by his defense partner. And Self will start it up down the right wing lane. Knighthawks will get the bye next weekend. And they'll await the winner of the Buffalo-Toronto playoff game a week from tonight. Cody Jamieson setting up the play to Dan Dawson. Tried to feed over to Craig Point. Point gets a couple of shots from Kevin Brunell. And they break free, and here comes Buffalo down the right wing lane. David Brock leaving things off for Buffalo's offense. Mark Stainhouse from the left point, running in on Matt Vince, held up from the near corner. Gets some room to move. Here's Stainhouse, shot goes wide. Rebound, John Tavares. Tavares back over to Stainhouse with a drive again. Vince with a save. The rebound jumps out in front. And the Knighthawks are there as Sid Smith floats it back out to midfield. It'll be scooped up the right wing lane over to Brad Self. 4:40 left to play here in the fourth quarter. A collective hush over the crowd, and many of which are looking for the respective portals. 16-11 Knighthawks. Buffalo scampering for position. Vitarelli with ease and time and space, getting a shot away. Cosmo, Rory Smith combined together to clear it back over to Mitch Jones. Buffalo pulling the goaltender. Looking to get back into this game with the extra attacker as Cosmo goes to the bench. Sixth attacker is out. 10 to shoot for Buffalo. Stainhouse from the left point, down into the corner. Back over to Resetaris. Now Stainhouse. 5 to shoot. Shooting, scores!
Mark Stainhouse making a little bit of room there in the Rochester defense, and he lets one rip. And I don't know, Matt Vince might have been screened as he was talking to his defenders right after that goal. Assessing that performance right in front of him as Stainhouse is able to get a lane and let one rip, as Vince might have been screened by Mike Kirk there, or Paul Dawson. So it's back within 4 and under 4 minutes to go.
Fourth of the night for Mark Stainhouse to bring Buffalo back into this game with 3 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. Stainhouse again face-to-face on the Matt Vince into the traffic area, and that stops things with 3 minutes and 51 seconds left to play here in this fourth quarter. 16-12 Knighthawks. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
And they let it get out of hand in the fourth quarter, and same thing here tonight. They thought maybe they're going to take control of this game, and Rochester took advantage in the fourth quarter with 4 goals in a row.
Knighthawks will start it up out of their own zone. Working it out at midfield is the guy that opened the scoring of tonight's game way back at the 1:16 mark, Joel Walters. He'll fire it to the far corner as it's picked up by Craig Point. Dabbling, worth it, and the ball intercepted by Steve Priolo. Priolo starts it up for Buffalo just outside the Rochester line, and in over the line he goes, the big defender. 30 forced turnovers for Steve Priolo. Leaving it inside the Nighthawk zone. 15 to shoot for Buffalo. Ball played off the boards to Joey Resetaris, top of the slot over to Benesh. He scores!
Well, that seems to be working for the Bandits right now, just teeing off from the top of the zone and firing fast ones at Matt Vince as Resetaris took the pass off the boards and fed it back to Benesh. And we're back within 3 with 3:14 to go. They still have time, but they need to keep coming like this, fast and quick, as Benesh gets a step on a Rochester defender.
52-51 shots, Knighthawks. They lead 16-13. Bandits trying to get back into the game. Face-off controlled by the Bandits. Cosmo runs over to the Buffalo bench as Stainhouse works it outside. The Rochester line finds relief back over to Ryan Benesh. 2:55 remaining in the regulation. Buffalo's Sean Williams feeding it back over to Joey Resetaris. Got himself out of position. Buffalo retains the ball with Mark Stainhouse retaining it now with 10 to shoot from the left point. Here's Stainhouse working it. Top of the slot pass over to Benesh. Benesh with a drive wide. Rebound. Save the over and back charge for Buffalo, but not enough time to shoot as Williams leaves it out.
Too many men. Cosmo was on the floor, but so were 6 Buffalo Bandits. And they're going to get an illegal substitution too many men call here, and that'll almost ice things up here. As now with 2:36 to go, Buffalo will be down a man for 2 minutes as Culp will serve the bench minor. And this happened in Toronto too, where they had the problem with the guy going off and the goaltender coming on and off the floor.
Yeah, it happened last week as well in the closing seconds, and the Knighthawks awarded a penalty shot for too many men on the turf area with under 2 minutes to play. So here come the Knighthawks with a man advantage. 2:33 left to play in the regulation. Palos works it over to Cody Jamieson. The leaders of the Eastern Division throughout the year, the reigning NLL champion, the Rochester Knighthawks. Here comes Buffalo shorthanded. In over the line is Priolo. There's a shot, score! Ryan Benesh.
Benesh, he was handing out the assist earlier tonight. Now he's got a hat trick too as Benny on the transition with Priolo, the give and go, and Benesh goes over the top over the shoulder of Matt Vince, and it's a 2-goal game, shorthanded. And 2:14 to go, still time, but again, they got to finish killing off the rest of this penalty as well.
Who would have thought 30 goals tonight between these two clubs? From the face-off, the Knighthawks controlled it. Brad Self works it far side over to Dan Dawson. 2 minutes left to play in the regulation. 16-14 Knighthawks. Jamieson to Vitarelli. Here's Vitarelli's shot going wide. Rebound all the way back out to midfield and into the Knighthawks bench. So to be Buffalo's ball. Cosmo reads the play. Looks to funnel his way back out to midfield, or does he? As Stainhouse comes up with a ball down into the Knighthawk zone, and Cosmo runs over to the bench. Here's Stainhouse. Stainhouse working it from the corner. Stainhouse with the ball, hanging on to it. Stainhouse looking to get a shot away. He does! Left side of Vince. Rebound Buffalo. Working it from the slot area. Tavares with a shot that goes wide. Back behind the net as Vince is there with 1:25 remaining in the regulation, and Paul Dawson starts it up down the right wing lane. Over to Ian Lord. Moves it back over to Campbell. Campbell now to the outside lane to Cody Jamieson. Deep into the corner for the Knighthawks. 1:05 remaining in the regulation. 16-14 Knighthawks. Jamieson with a shot. Save. Cosmo stopped right at the goal line. And the ball is frozen.
Boy, that ball was sitting on the goal line as it went off of Cosmo's equipment. And we are having either a timeout. Oh, it is timeout Buffalo. I thought maybe they were going to try to review that just to be sure, but that ball was sitting on the goal line after it went off Cosmo's equipment. But Troy Quarterly and his troops are going to talk this over with 1:02 to go in regulation. Buffalo still a man down for 27 more seconds as Chad Culp in the box for the too many men minor. But now Buffalo take possession here, maybe kill off the remainder of the penalty and force one shorthanded, and then maybe try and get one final possession to tie the game, but you got to get one to get two.
Great part about this game of indoor lacrosse, just like basketball, the minute two is a long time, and the possession timeout called by the Bandits in order to stage a play to try, hopefully sweep back in and get a goal and come within one, and then locking it up for the game tire. Anything can happen with a minute two left, a long time with the style of play, and the Bandits caught here in the second half of play. Really had made a game out of it all the way up into the first half. Unfortunately, with a miscue of Cosmo going to the bench and Sid Smith scoring the empty netter to take the 1-goal lead to the second half, but the Bandits tying it up at 10 at 3:46 of the third quarter, and then the Knighthawks battle back with a couple. The Bandits come back with one, but then the Knighthawks go on this run here in the fourth quarter of play. A 4-goal run before Buffalo getting on the scoreboard at 11:02 with Mark Stainhouse. Let's see what happens here with 1:02 remaining in regulation.
They did review that goal just to be sure, as it is under 2 minutes, but the ball got to the goal line but never crossed it. Ryan Benesch, 9 points tonight. He just came out and he had 5 assists, but now he's tallied 3 goals here in the second half as he extends his team lead. He'll finish the regular season as the Bandits' leading scorer, right now sitting on 78 points for the year.
Buffalo starts it up out of their own zone. It's Ryan Benesch with a minute left to go. Benesch runs it up from midfield, working it now down into the Nighthawks zone. 54 seconds remaining in the regulation as the ball twirled back out for Joey Reseteris to the near side of it, Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse from the slot area, getting in close to Matt Vince. Here's Stainhouse shooting, and Vince comes up with a save, and the rebound picked up by Scott Self, and he'll clear it back over to Big Paul Dawson, who brings it back out as Cosmo runs back between the pipes for Buffalo. 30 seconds left to play into regulation. And it's back to full strength, but the Knighthawks working the ball well outside the line as Self goes to the far side over to Dan Dawson. In pursuit is Mitch Wild. 18 seconds left. Here's Dawson coming in, taking the shot. Cosmo the save, the rebound, far corner. And it is Dane Smith, but hang on here. We've got a stoppage with 11.9 seconds remaining.
I think Rochester took their timeout, John. As, well, 12 seconds to go. It might be a miracle at this point for Buffalo to tie this game and force overtime. We are likely going to be headed to the Air Canada Center next Saturday night, John, for round 1 of the playoffs, as it'll be a 7 o'clock start at the ACC next Saturday between the Rock and Bandits, a rematch of 1 week ago, or 8 days ago, I should say. As who would have thought? If you would have told me sitting at 8-2, what would have Vegas put the odds on Buffalo going on a franchise worst 8-game losing streak to finish out the season? It was unthinkable then, but it's come to reality here tonight.
54-53 in shots favoring the Knighthawks. They've got the 16-14 lead. The turning point of the game, notwithstanding the 4-0 lead at the beginning of the game, it's in the fourth quarter where the Knighthawks put on a 4-goal run, and that in a matter of 3 goals in a matter of 3 minutes and 43 seconds. The 2 shorthanded goals, just a killer, and that Mike Kirk one, the second shorthanded one, that really hurt.
Yeah, this one you thought maybe they were going to tie the game up. There was a dumb penalty by Craig Point slashing Steve Priolo as he went off the floor, but his teammates bailed him out with a pair of shorties and took control of this game for good.
Here comes Buffalo in the closing seconds. Tavares with a shot. Vince with a save. The rebound into the corner, and the Knighthawks are going to win this one. 16-14, and the losing streak continues for the Bandits. We'll be back with a post-game show after this timeout. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
This is Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse. Get your tickets now, starting at just $28, or your McDonald Family 4-pack for just $89. Don't miss the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season.
Score! Salutes a check, takes a shot, he scores!
Tickets are available at the First Niagara Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Banditland.
Your Knighthawks are heading to the playoffs. The quest to make history begins on Saturday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come cheer on your Knighthawks as they look to bring home the Champions Cup. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com or by calling 585-454-HAWK. That's 585-454-4295. The Rochester Knighthawks. No limits lacrosse.
Oh, a tough one to handle tonight here from Buffalo as the Buffalo Bandits lose it. Their 8th of the season in a row, 16-14 to the Knighthawks. I assume, Dave Buchanan from the out-of-town scoreboard, that the Toronto Rock have defeated the Minnesota Swarm.
It's not over. It's 8-3 Toronto with about 12:15 to go in the fourth quarter. So, bearing a Minnesota miracle, as it were, we're likely headed to the Air Canada Center.
Well, after an interesting first half of play, the Knighthawks had a 10-9 lead. We go to the third quarter in the highlights. It started at 3:46. Buffalo tying it up at 10. It's Ryan Banesh.
I want to thank the fans of
And Banesh on the power play and on target. And to tie it at 10, John Tavares and Mark Stainhouse with the assist. Johnny Paulus goes on a 2-goal run at 5:18 and 8:33. Buffalo on the scoreboard at 12:05, Mark Stainhouse. And that's Mark Stainhouse scoring the goal and getting Buffalo within one, 12-11. Knighthawks at that particular time as the time ran out in the third quarter. Stainhouse getting the goal. Dane Smith and Ryan Banesh with the assist. We go to the fourth quarter of play, and this is where the wheels started to wobble. 1:44, Dan Dawson shorthanded. 2:36, the killer, Mike Kirk, shorthanded. 3:43, Cody Jamieson, power play. 8:54, Craig Point. One of many points tonight from Cody Jamieson and Dan Dawson, taking a 16-11 lead. Buffalo then goes on a 3-goal run at 11:02. Starts it up with Mark Stainhouse. From Joey Resatara, so Buffalo on a run here. 11:46, Ryan Banesh on the extra attack. Nice shot by Ryan Banesh, and he does not stop there as Buffalo starts another attack just a minute later, 12:46. Banesh shorthanded. Steve Priolo responsible for this one. Steve Priolo and Mitch Wild with the assist, and that's all Buffalo had at 12:46 as Banesh finishes out a very strong night. The final is 16-14 Rochester. Dave, let's go through individual scoring and begin with the Bandits.
Yeah, for the Bandits, Ryan Banesh leads the way, 3 goals, 6-6, 9.9. He'll finish the regular season as the team's leading scorer in his first full year as a Bandit. Mark Stainhouse, a great night, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points for him. Joel Matthews, his first 2 goals as a Bandit. Joe Resataris, 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Johnny Tavares, a goal and 3 assists, and I was looking down, John, at the walkway, and John taking some time to sign some autographs. Have to think, could this be his final regular season home game as he heads off to the locker room? Also tonight for the Bandits, Mitch Jones, Steve Priolo, each an assist. Same for Rory Smith. Sean Williams, a goal and 2 assists. Mitch Wild, a pair of helpers. And Dane Smith, 1 and 1. There was someone the Bandits needed a little more from tonight's number 92. For Rochester, Cody Jamieson trying to lock up the league scoring title. 10 points tonight. 2 goals, 8 assists for number 88. Some other notable ones for Rochester: Craig Point, a hat trick. Stephen Keogh, a hat trick. And Johnny Paulus, 2 goals, 2 assists.
Anthony Cosmo with the 55 minutes played. We didn't get a run on Curtis Wager, but Cosmo playing 55 minutes, making 38 saves. Matt Vince going the full distance, making 40 saves. He's been a busy goaltender the last handful of games for the Knighthawks, and just spectacular as the Knighthawks defeat the Bandits tonight with a final score of 16-14, an old-fashioned style of game without the big physical atmosphere that generally went along with the old style of games. Special teams, Bandits go 4 for 6 on the power play. The Knighthawks go 2 for 4. Shots on goal in the second half. The Knighthawks 14-15 for a game total 54. The Bandits 8-14 for a game total of 54. And individual efforts for the face-offs, we have Jay Thornburg.
Jay Thornburg, another strong night in the circle, winning 19 of 34. The draws he took for 56%. Dylan Evans, he won 15 out of 32 for 47%. 3 stars on the night. Cody Jamieson, your number 1 star with a 10-point performance. Mark Stainhouse, number 2 star. Stephen Keogh, the number 3 star. And the latest from Minnesota, it's now 8-4 Toronto with 9:50 to go. So Minnesota needs 4 more to tie it, but most likely, again, we're headed to the Air Canada Center next Saturday.
Stay tuned to the out-of-town scoreboard with your smartphone for the National Lacrosse League, but here it is a final in Buffalo. The Knighthawks defeat the Bandits 16-14. Either way, we'll have the broadcast coverage for you on Saturday night, most likely from Toronto. The pregame show beginning at 6:30, the game going at 7. Pasquale Desmori, our producer tonight. Joe Shullafu, our producer for NLL. For Dave Buchanan, this is John Gertler. Good night from Buffalo.
Thank you.